Yo, what is good, everybody? Thanks for showing up to the new show, The Radar, with T Perfect, King John, and myself, B Lee. We're streaming on Goat James Kingdom as well. So we always want to come together every week so we could debate specific topics. And we're going to talk about all sports. So it's not just going to be basketball. So we're going to keep talking about all sports, even when football season starts. So today, we're going to debate the best centers we'll start our franchise with, and we will each get a turn. We'll each pick one at a time till we get to three, and at the end, we're going to put up the poll to see who had the best franchise center to start a franchise with. But first, we're going to talk about who we think is the greatest shooter of all time, as well as touch on some of the current NBA topics, such as what Bronny did and the Lakers game today, and the playoffs. So we're going to touch on that before we get to debate. So what do you guys want to start with first?
Well, Brandon, I got a trivia question first. I want to start off with.
Oh, sorry, the trivia question. All right.
I want to start the trivia. The question of the day: who drafted Johnny Kerr? Who drafted Johnny Kerr, and what year was he drafted? Now, I expect a certain answer. If you give me the answer, I will give it to you. And there's a reason why I will give you the answer. If you give me the answer, I'll tell you why I give it to you. But I want to know who drafted Johnny, for people like me, Johnny Red Kerr. He plays center. Because this is what the show is based off of, centers. So Johnny Kerr was a center. I want you guys to tell me who drafted Johnny Kerr.
Okay, I mean that's remember, guys, whoever gets that trivia answer right gets to do exactly what Peter Bag just did last week, and dictate what we discuss in the first part of the show here today. So again, if you have that answer, like John will repeat that, I'm sure, like throughout the show. But that's
somebody already answered it. Somebody already answered it.
Lauren Haynes.
Yes. Yes. I didn't think somebody was going to say the Syracuse Nationals because it wasn't the NBA. It was the NBL. So if you would have said the Philadelphia 76ers, I was willing to give you the answer because that's who they changed into. So that's why I said if you give me another team, I'll give it to you. Johnny Kerr is from Chicago. That was the reason for the question. So, hey, somebody answered that real quick. I didn't think somebody was going to get that because it wasn't the NBA. It was the NBL. Nice answer.
Wow. So what that means, Lauren Haynes, is that next week you get to pick what we talk about during the first part of our show here. Or if you would like to debate one of us one-on-one, you can do that too. Like we'll have a segment for you, whatever you want to do. Get into Goat James Kingdom Discord and just basically lay that out. Identify yourself, say you were the winner of John's trivia question there, and say what you want to do. It's open-ended. So we can do whatever you want to do first half of the show next week, okay? Or at least, part of it. And that's your whole thing. But now, to honor Peter Bagjuice, who actually won last week, he wanted us to discuss who, in our opinion, is the greatest shooter of all time, and why is it Steph Curry? And
first, do anybody have someone other than Steph?
I have Ray Allen.
Yeah, Ray Allen. Okay.
Okay. Well, he wants us to chop it up, so let's do it. Go ahead, John.
I love Ray Allen. I love Ray Allen as a shooter because he was one of the first shooters who shot like that off the dribble. What a lot of people don't get, back in the day, they didn't shoot off the dribble like that. And to me, why off the dribble was so difficult because you have to, everything is nothing set for you. When somebody making a shot for you, you get to set your feet, you get to position your body, you get the ball coming to me. If you got a good point guard, he knows how you like the ball. Ray Allen was one of the first shooters to shoot off the dribble like that. And he didn't shoot with the volume they had today. but he did shoot it. And he was known for his handle getting to the basket and he could shoot. So I always thought, even when Steph Curry became the all-time three-point leader and everything, I know you can't use this, but I always used it. If Ray Allen shot the ball with the volume as Steve Kerr did, will we be talking about him in the what's the 5,000 club and making all these 3-point shots? Because what helped Ray Allen career go even longer is because he can shoot. Oh, I can't handle the ball no more. I can't do this, but I can shoot the ball really, really well. So he probably lasted at least 5 more years in the NBA because he can shoot. Think of them Boston years. A lot of players are gone. His athleticism had left. Think about them Boston years and then a couple of years in Miami. Those, for most players, are done years. A lot of people use Ray Allen. LeBron wouldn't have won without Ray Allen. Do y'all realize Ray Allen retired after that? That means look how old he was because he can shoot. So Ray Allen is the guy for me.
I mean, one thing about Ray Allen, he was always in great shape. Like, he was like in one of the best shape players in the NBA, and the way he ran around, the way he could just catch and shoot, the way he knew what a 3-point line is, like with the shot with Miami. Yes. Like, there's maybe 5 players in the NBA who could have made that shot in NBA history. Like, there's not many who could have made that shot.
In history.
I mean, there's not many who could have been in that position to shoot that shot, may I say, other than less than make it, because the way he called it, step behind the line, got the ball off, like, it was a work of art. So yeah, Ray Allen is a great shooter, and most people don't even know how great of a player he was. I remember Ray Allen, his first couple of years, when he was just trying to dunk on everybody.
Yeah.
He was in an All-Star game, just trying to catch bodies. That's all he tried to do is dunk. He was the only one in the All-Star game trying to dunk on everybody. And then in college, I have never seen a college player dunk so much in my life other than Ray Allen. All he did was dunk on people. If you watch any Ray Allen highlights, he is constantly dunking on everybody. The guy was so versatile with his handles.
Yes.
You know, he had a movie, but yeah, his shooting was crazy. His shooting was crazy. Yeah, his shooting was crazy. But you know, before Steph Curry, the last 10 years, you know, I will always say it was Ray Allen. Like, Ray Allen is the way he could get his shot off. A lot of people say Reggie Miller, but I wouldn't say Reggie Miller. I believe Ray Allen's a better shooter than Reggie Miller. But Steph Curry, the way that he shoots the ball, the range, the flair, everything about Steph Curry shoot the ball is unconsciously crazy. Like, I don't understand it. Like, Dame Lillard does a lot of the things that a poor man Steph Curry could do, but there's no Steph Curry. There's no Steph Curry. We even saw it in the Olympics. Like, there's no such thing as a Steph Curry that I ever seen. The guy is unconscious, and his range is unbelievable. Like, you know, I didn't really put Steph in the top 15 before the Olympics, even though, we all watched Steph Curry his whole career. We all watched him. I watched him all the way in college when they wouldn't rave about him. And I was like, this guy would not make it in the NBA. He plays like he's 7 years old. There's nowhere on earth this guy will be good in the NBA. And when teams was passing on him in the drive, they was mad because the Knicks passed on him. Like, he's not ever going to be good in the NBA. Like, he's never going to be good. Like he could dribble, but he literally plays like a kid. Then, his first couple of years, it was so. Then, man, did he work on his game so much to be a all-time great. Like, I don't know if there's a player who worked on his game as much as Steph Curry to be this great, because he was not. His physical tools is nowhere near anybody in NBA history. How great this guy is. So I'm gonna give it up to Steph Curry as the greatest shooter. He earned that. His play earned it, and I still think he got robbed of 2 Finals MVPs. He should have 3 of them. and he should be definitely ranked higher in the top 10 than he should be.
Facts.
What years you should he? I know 2 of the years.
Well, 15 he should have got it, and 2018 he definitely should have got it.
Okay.
Kevin Durant had a really good game 4, but the first 3 games, Steph Curry was the best player on Golden State. The first 3 games was Steph Curry.
Well, Durant was only good because he was being defended by LeChoke. You know, like Choke couldn't guard a paper bag. We all know that.
But you don't think what's his name could have won it? Andrew Wiggins in 22.
Andrew Wiggins didn't have a chance. He didn't have a chance, no matter how well he played. They was going to give it to Steph. But Steph played good enough to be Finals MVP.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
He played good enough to be Finals MVP.
I think that Ray Allen is. I was the first time Ray Allen was on my radar was when I was watching the 2001 playoffs. A little bit before that, where they were going up against AI of the Sixers. Mm-hmm. Like that was a dog fight of that one. Like when he was on the Bucks, and like they had like Michael Redd, like he was. That was when like John said, like, and you guys were saying he was like the alpha guy go to, and he had the shot. He could do anything on the court, and like that was a hell of an Eastern Conference war. Like they had the Raptors coming in there, Bucks, Sixers, and it was underrated. But that was one of the better series I've seen. And I was like, wow, Ray Allen is legitimate. And I mean, to me, I appreciate him, but if it wasn't just so overwhelming in favor of Curry, I would give it to Ray Allen also. But it's just, to me, he has every 3-point record you can have, like shooting for most seasons over 40%, like most threes in a season, most three, and he's doing it with more volume than Reggie or Ray Allen had too. It's not just that he's taking 3 or 4, he's taking like 8, 9, 10, and it just, if it wasn't so dominant in every category to the point where you can't legitimately discuss it, I'd be like, yeah, let's look at some other prospects. Which means it's one of the only, and like weirdly enough, it's one of the only things in the NBA that we can say there's no other challenger really. Like realistically, when every record is yours basically in a certain category, and it's not even really remotely close, it's like it's tough. But I mean, I think Prime Ray Allen could probably school Prime Curry as far as like one-on-one. But I think the greatest shooter of all time is Stephen Curry. I don't think it's remotely close, but I think that Ray Allen and Reggie Miller, guys, you know, even underrated guys like Glenn Rice, you know, for a few years were really good shooters. Mark Price, Steve Nash, all these guys were really, really good. They just weren't as consistent for like as long a period of time. But a lot of times, it's not even their fault. It's like the system you play in. You know, they're asked to do more things. They're not asked to jack up 9, 10 threes a game because that wasn't like, who they are. And it's not. That's no detriment to them as a player. You know, because they were amazing. But that's just our take on it, Peter Bag Juice. But I think it's you can argue, but I think it's Curry.
Yeah, I think with the greatest shooters, that's mainly our like eye test.
Yeah,
it's mainly our eyes. Even though Steph has the you know the record, like we wouldn't say James Harden's a better shooter than Reggie or Ray Allen. You know. I mean, James Harden has the second most threes of all time. Like we wouldn't say he's a top 5 shooter. I don't even think we'd say he's a top 10 shooter.
It's just I mean, there's a lot of factors, right?
I think guys fell in some wrong errors, like Craig Hodges. If you remember, he was a deadly 3-point shooter, and the volume. I mean, the 3-point shot, which is looked at as a bad shot at one point, it was considered a bad shot. And you did start seeing the value of the 3-point shot in the 90s, but they still didn't shoot it at a high mark. They didn't start shooting it at a high mark until they moved it closer, and then a lot of teams started noticing the value in it. And Steph Curry did just say, you know, I'm We're changing. A 20-point lead isn't a real lead anymore. Just think about that. 20-point game. You bring the bench in, everybody come in. The way Steph Curry helped bring in that a 20-point lead ain't a real lead. Hey, I can't argue with nobody who says Steph Curry is the best 3-point shooter ever. I mean, you just got to think. Back in the day, 20-point leads were in the mid fourth quarter. You brought the bench in, you brought the late rounders in. Y'all can get some playing time. I dare you do that with Steph Curry on the floor. You wasn't trying to win a game. So,
I mean, one of the things that made it more of a thing today is the analytics, because the analytics, like in football and baseball, they're using that more often to actually game plan for things. So, I mean, should have been simple to figure out years ago that the more threes you shoot at a higher clip, the better your chance of is winning. But I guess it wasn't really a thing till they saw Steph Curry do it. I only know if it was Golden State that maybe it was Golden State that they start to figure out, yeah, like this is working.
What's Steve Nash, coach, who helped him win 2 MVPs?
No, talk about Mike D'Antoni.
D'Antoni, I think, helped bring it in. Don Nelson, I think he helped bring it in. I think some of them coaches brought it in.
I don't know if they helped bring it in, because when they was doing their offense, no one got on board with it, and they never won, so it wasn't a thing. Yeah, it's like, well, this team is doing, but you can't win doing this way. Look at the Suns. You can't win shooting the ball 7 seconds or less and jacking up quick shots. Don Nelson, you can't win that way. It wasn't until probably Steph and Clay in 2016. Even in 2015, they didn't think they could win. Yeah. But once they destroyed the league in 2016,
won the 73 games.
Yeah, they're like, well, this is pretty obvious the way.
Also, like, if you look at, like, you're right. Like, there wasn't like teams that were like weaponizing the 3 ball intentionally until what? Like, you had like the 94, like they're like the 94 Rocket to a degree, but you had like the Suns, but then since Curry, like there's a lot of teams that started kicking up the volume. But, like, guys like look at the 93 Suns. They shot almost over 36% from a team perspective. They were attempting 13 threes a game, which was well above average for that point. They had 4 guys who were shooting at least 40 or 39 or like 30 some odd percent or 38% or better. And it was, it was kind of the beginning. Like, they had guys who can shoot. Their field goal percentage as a team was almost 50%. Mm-hmm. And like, guys like Cedric Ceballos, Tom Chambers, Danny H, guys, Dan Marley, someone mentioned in the chat. So these guys, like, it wasn't unheard of, but you're right. Like, analytics tell us that, people started realizing it's the best shot we can do. Let's just load our roster with proven guys, or that's the direction we're going to go. And you saw like a huge shift, from what, 2013 on up to where we are now, where it's just people are just, the 3 balls increasing, because it is really the best shot if you can get a relatively open look. You have guys who are competently, but it's just, that's at the time it wasn't really the emphasis. So no knock on those tenants, though.
Yeah, it wasn't, because you played a certain way. You just played a certain way, and even when the Heat, when they start spreading the ball out, they was saying it's more of like AAU basketball, because that's what we did in AAU. Like, we got the best players, we spread it out, and we worked. So that's what the Miami Heat started to do, and then they won a few championships with like the small ball lineup sort of, and then the Spurs, they start nailing threes, being efficient, doing it, unstoppable, moving the ball around, shooting long range jumpers and threes, and then Golden State brought it all together.
Yeah,
small ball, spreading shooters.
Yeah,
and then like it started, like you said, like 2013, 2012, like the league started to change, and you can see now it's completely changed.
It's completely changed.
Yeah, it's completely changed. Like there's no, even when the Lakers tried to have played the traditional '90s basketball with post players with Anthony Davis, LeBron James, they were getting knocked off the, like everyone was beating them. Like you can't play that game that way anymore. Like they say, oh, why don't you just dump it into the post and score? Like Shaq and Patrick Ewing, like I average 50 points a game. Like just get the ball.
Well, I mean that's the thing that's like was about, because like in order to do that, you'd have to have like a guy who's like, okay, a transcendent center like the Jokic, Shaq, or Giannis the last couple of years, where they're just shooting at a ridiculously high percentage, where no matter what you do to them, you're going to get 55 to 60% from them, no matter what. And like you have like that's why the 01 Lakers or like 01, 02 Lakers were so gross, because Shaq was going to. It wasn't you couldn't just say he can't shoot free throws, so let's foul him, because he's going to give you 35 points regardless on top of his free throws, and then everyone else is shooting 35% from three, even if it's only 3 attempts a game, because we have to double and triple him. Like you don't really have that in this league that much, so that's why the spread offense is so prevalent today, where you're just like really just spreading out, waiting for an open shot, ball movement, which is, I think, better basketball. Like everyone's getting a touch, things like that.
I don't know if you can have that today. Like even say for instance, Shaq played today, and we know Shaq would just go in the post and he'll just spin and dunk on everybody. But it is not what people think it is, because he has to go back on the other end full speed. Like centers are not just running up and down the floor; they're side to side. They're literally talking about Anthony Davis cannot play today because he has to defend on pick and rolls and guards. Like Anthony Davis, who can actually do it, they're saying that he cannot play today, but they're saying that somebody like Patrick Ewing, who's wearing knee pads, is going to go up and down the court. And Embiid could barely play 30 games a year with their size, because he's not jogging up and down a court and just posting up. Like, no, Embiid has to move side to side. He has to move. He cannot just sit in the post. That's a lot of energy trying to sit in the post, do drop step moves, and then running back on the court, chasing someone off the 3-point line, then going back down full court, because his team is not going to sit there and walk the ball up either. They have to move at a fast pace. They sped up the game. So there's no just moving like a snail anymore. There's no being the last person down the floor and we're just going to wait and dump the ball in the post, and then the next team is going to do the same thing. Like the game is completely changed. Like there's only
I mean, the only pushback I'd say on that is like you do have. I don't think Prime Shaq was necessarily would be like a liability today, because I mean you don't see like every big man shooting 36% from three or something, but there's definitely ways to exploit him. But I just think the offensive upside of, obviously it's so rare to have a player like Shaq, but the offensive upside would be and like the gravity grid would just be too great to ignore.
Yeah, I do think. I mean, even prime Shaq, I think will have a problem in the league. I think earlier Shaq, from 92 to like 95, I think could survive because he was more athletic. He was moving better off his feet. I believe he could guard off the pick and roll better as a younger guy. I mean, if people remember how athletic he was, but today's most of the dominant centers back then couldn't play today, because even though you can dominate an offensive end, they would exploit you on the defensive end today, because what they would do is you can't block shots because you're going to stand at the 3-point line. So you at that point, you're a defensive liability now. So
yeah, I don't know how Shaq would dominate. His game would have to completely change.
I'm talking about, yeah, it would.
He wouldn't be the same player. Yeah, he wouldn't be the same. That Shaq couldn't shoot. That Shaq couldn't do nothing but go to the hole and dunk.
But ain't that Giannis?
Giannis could dribble up and down the floor like a point guard.
I mean, Shaq couldn't, like, he had a little bit more in his bag than just dunking. Obviously, he wasn't like shooting mid-range J's at a high consistency, but Like he had decent like low post moves, things like that, and like he just would get you in like foul trouble more than like any other player ever. And like I don't think his game would have to change. He would have to become much more of a passer, which he wasn't really bad at.
Yeah.
You know, like back in the day, especially with when you consider like those slow pace. I think that he would average probably 2 or 3 more assists than what he did back then, which was like 3. So he'd probably have it up to like 3 or 4 or 5 assists a game. His shots per game might go down a little bit, but I don't think that anyone's not taking 99 2000 Shaq as an option, So
I mean, I'm just saying his game was completely changed. He wouldn't be the same player. He wouldn't be the dominant 30 and 15 guy because
wouldn't he though?
I don't know how.
Giannis can do it.
Giannis could dribble like a point guard.
It doesn't matter how he's dribbling. You get the ball.
Yes, it does. Like he's going to get the ball in the same area and do what?
You don't think Shaq could have, if he add that to his game?
He didn't have it to his game. I don't know how how someone's gonna add it that don't have it.
Well, Shaq
could barely shoot a free throw. What are you? Who's
going to stop Shaq from getting his looks on a high percentage? Is the first question.
Yeah, he would get down there and dunk. I'm pretty sure a lot of them would be charges, but then again, he has to go out there and he has to chase people off the 3-point line. Embiid could barely play 30 games a year. I don't understand how Shaq is gonna
Shaq was never really injured a little.
Yeah, I think that's
because he didn't have to play that way. He didn't have to play that way.
Yeah, he did.
No, he did not.
He wasn't just walking up court every time.
He never chased anyone off the 3-point line. He never guarded it. He never moved side to side. He never guarded a point guard all game.
Well, yeah, they wouldn't ask him to do that. Like, obviously,
they would ask him to do that. He would be put in that position to do that. That's the problem.
Agree to disagree on that one.
Well,
I still think Prime Shaq would get his numbers. He might not do it at the same efficiency or the same.
I think it's
points
the
per
same
game, but
I think it looks different. I don't think. Yeah. I just think it looks different because I think we're looking at Prime Shaq play today in Giannis. Giannis didn't have that.
He plays nowhere like Giannis.
Giannis wasn't doing this early.
He plays nowhere like Giannis. Is not a walk the last man off the floor, getting the post, drop step and dunk.
Giannis gets like most of his points like on like basically wide open layups and dunks, right? Like he's creating that like himself. 2 or 3.
He's creating that himself. Shaq is not creating that himself. He has never did that before.
Shaq just dominates anyone. So you would have. Here's the thing with Shaq. You would have to send at least 2 or 3 guys to defend him. Like that's the whole thing. That was Shaq's. With Giannis, you can kind of get away because he's going to maybe settle for a hook or a mid-range jumper, or he's going to try to go past you. But he's not going to just bully to the hoop. He's not going to have like a 4-foot hook with consistency baseline, things like that. Like he can do that, but Shaq was overwhelmingly good at those things, like down low, bullying, getting his.
I have never seen Shaq dribble more than. I've never seen Shaq dribble from the free throw line and score a basket before.
I've seen Shaq go coast to coast.
I've seen him go coast to coast too. That's why
I seen him do coast. Yeah, he's done it like a couple of times in his career, but he would not do that consistently all game.
Shaq would be better than Giannis today.
No, Shaq would.
Because they would add that to his game. I think he would develop that in his game. He would have to if he wants to be on the floor.
Everyone has to develop their game to be on the floor, but we have never seen Shaq do this before.
Shaq had like a good little. Shaq had
like
a good like.
Shaq have handles. Shaq can't even hold the ball to shoot a free throw. I don't understand how he's gonna be dominating.
It doesn't matter when he's taking like 15 free throws a game, dude, and like your entire front court.
No, I'm just saying he can't shoot. Period. He cannot shoot. Period. They will force him to shoot mid-range shots unless he's not going to run people over.
Giannis is garbage at the line too.
Yes, Giannis is bad from the free throw line as well.
Yeah, but Shaq, I'm just saying Shaq cannot hold the ball to shoot free throws because his hands are too big. There's no way that he's going to shoot a jump shot.
He doesn't need to, dude. Like that wasn't his game.
Take the mid-range to the 3 points out of the game. Just take it out of the game because he cannot hold the ball to actually shoot a appropriate jumper.
Okay,
He's gonna
Shaq
have
would
to
average.
maneuver.
Shaq would be
He's gonna
like a
have to.
28, 15, and like
You
6
got Giannis
stats.
doing Euro steps and all type of things. Shaq is not doing that. Shaq is not doing that stuff.
Okay,
I'm thinking you forgetting about the Orlando Shaq.
I know everything about the Orlando Shaq. Like I said, his game would be diminished if he played today because this is not the way Shaq played. Shaq could run up and down the court, but he doesn't have the.
You must not watched a lot of
constantly
Shaq,
make
bro.
best-
I watched like every single game.
Apparently not. If you think Shaq could do the things Giannis could do.
Now you even got a Johnny on drugs in the chat saying Shaq would be 18 and 12.
I mean,
he's like 28 and 12.
It's no way. I watched Shaq play with Penny Hardaway, my favorite player. Shaq does not have the skills.
Shaq had spin moves. Shaq had a hook shot.
Yeah,
Shaq
he had a spin move. Yeah, he had post moves.
Shaq had many jumpers.
He has post moves.
Yeah, Shaq would body
Shaq doesn't have a
put on
jumper.
him.
Yes, he has post moves. Embiid has post moves. Players have post moves. That doesn't mean you're going to dominate. Anthony Davis
Yes, it does. Especially like when he dominated the way Shaq was. Like if you didn't double him, he's going to back you down. He's going to get a high percentage look. He's going to dunk over, and he's going to get the foul. That's just what he was. There's no one else in the game like that. Even peaking on it, like even Jokic right now, he's more of a finesse guy around the rim, but it's still effective, yes. But Shaq was brutal. Shaq would get you in foul trouble. Shaq would get his. He was taking all of his shots were like 3 to 5 feet from the rim, if not a dunk. He was shooting 60%. Like you can't stop that.
Yeah, he was shooting 6% back then. He's not doing that today.
Why?
Because that involves him doing other things than just catching and dunking. He's not just going to catch and dunk today because no one does that today. No one's
with way softer inside
30.
competition. He's not going to dunk today.
No one catches the ball and dunks all game today.
Shaq wasn't just dunking all game today. That's not what
he would have to because he doesn't have those skills. He can barely hold the ball to form a jump shot. Take the mid range to the 3-point out. He cannot form a jump shot.
My question: why would he have to shoot jump shots today?
Because he's playing in the NBA today, and that's what you have to play because you game plan for those players who's limited in skills.
What do you mean they weren't game planning for Shaq when they were building entire rosters to stop him?
Yes, while every team was walking up and down the court and sitting there in the post. That's why after Shaq, even though he was older, when he started playing for other teams, he was not effective. He was not effective at all because he couldn't just get in the post, drop step and dunk. We saw in Cleveland he was getting the post, drop stepping and dunking with ease, but they just didn't let him do that anymore. He fouled out most of the game on charges.
Yes, he couldn't do it anymore. It's an older Shaq.
Yeah, he fouled out most games and charges. Like
you're talking about, you're like 18 Shaq.
Yeah, he's talking about the older Shaq.
I'm talking about the older Shaq after Miami. Well, even with Miami, he wasn't doing that anymore. He couldn't do that anymore.
Listen, from 92 to what is it like 003? Shaq was quick. He was lethal. He wasn't just walking up and down the court, dude. Like you watch his game, it wasn't his dunks. He had hooks. He had floaters, like he could get his position better than most.
He was in the post. Yeah, like I say, he was in the post. Yeah,
he would do the exact same thing today.
My thing is Shaq would be in better shape today.
Oh yeah, okay. Shaq would be worse than Zion today. Shaq would not be in better. God. Like we're just gonna say he's gonna be in better shape. He's gonna learn all these skills that he never possessed before. Just like y'all saying Jerry West would have averaged 30 in the 90s. Like, no, Jerry West dribbled one fucking hand.
Well, the other reason Shaq let himself go was because
Shaq was not dedicated to the game. He was never dedicated to the game. Kobe Bryant had to take a step back so
you realize the only reason he let himself go was because they were winning championships.
Yeah, he let himself go because he was a dedicated person, like all those players in the 90s. If they had a lockout, half the league was 20, 30 pounds overweight. Like, those guys was not dedicated to playing basketball. Like Charles Barkley, all he wanted to do was eat burgers. Like, those guys was not dedicated to playing basketball. I don't believe Shaq would be dedicated today as well. They just was not dedicated playing basketball.
I get your point at the end of his career, but
I don't think Shaq possessed those skills today to be dominant today.
I think at one point in Shaq's career, he was dedicated to the game. You saw he saw that he stayed in shape, but I do think he got lazy at the end of his career.
When was Shaq in shape? When was Shaq in shape?
From 92 to like 96. 96, 97.
So he was in shape for 4 years.
No, he was in shape during like three
He was in
beats.
shape
Like
for
he
4
wasn't
years.
wildly
No.
out of shape.
Yeah, he was shape his first couple of years because he was still in this college mentality that you have to play basketball, and then 2 years later he was trying to do movies and not being in shape after 1995. 96 he got swept off the court because he wasn't dominant on the court when they played the Bulls. So after that, Shaq
He wasn't dominant, adding
just,
like 28 points a game, 15 rebounds. He wasn't dominant.
I mean, no, he was not dominant
60%
when he
shooting?
needed to be. When he needed to be, he
Okay.
was not dominant. When he needed to be, like anybody could be dominant in the regular season, but when it's time to play basketball, he wasn't dominant.
What?
No, when it was time, when it got hard in the playoffs, he was not dominant. And then when he got to the Lakers, yeah, they changed for a few years, but he still wasn't in the best of shape. He still was in the best of shape.
That's where the dedication that you was talking about coming in at, because it does take a lot of dedication, and you have to come up with strange ways to stay in shape because you're different than every other player in the league. So you have to come up with new ways to stay in shape, and you got to do it differently. And Shaq didn't.
I mean, he just thought he didn't need to. Like, why would you need to when it's so easy? Like, who the hell is he going up against?
By the end, nobody.
Who was he going up against? To actually, like, he wasn't going up against nobody until he met Tim Duncan, who outplayed him all the time. But other than Tim Duncan, who outplayed him all the time, who did he go up against?
Tim Duncan was never outplaying Shaq.
If you look at the stats, if you look at the stats,
yeah, you look at the stats.
Tim Duncan outplayed him all the time. Tim Duncan outplayed.
No, didn't outplay him in 03. Didn't outplay him.
And what other players that Shaq was dominating? What other players?
Look at in center.
Nobody.
Alonzo Mourning, David Robinson,
Alonzo Mourning,
Patrick Ewing.
Alonzo Mourning, anybody.
And he went for the 90s. Hakeem Olajuwon. Shaq was putting numbers on.
When did Shaq dominate Hakeem Olajuwon?
In the finals they met up on, Shaq put up numbers on that man.
Yes, he did.
Okay.
You must not be familiar with basketball history. You think Shaq was not putting up numbers on everyone.
Okay. When did Shaq dominate everybody? Okay, we said Shaq he played good versus King in 1995, his third year. Okay,
also,
who else?
We're on this. Where did this come off the rails?
No, who else? I'm just saying, who else? Like Patrick Ewing, who was done by the time 95 started.
Alonzo Mourning.
Alonzo Mourning was never somebody dominant. Next.
What? You say Alonzo Mourning was never a dominant center?
When was Alonzo Mourning dominant?
Throughout the entirety of the 90s when he was one of the best defenders of all time?
He was a good defensive center. That's about all. He was like 6'9".
He could score as well.
6'9". He scored 20 maybe.
Sean Kemp.
Maybe 20. Sean Kemp, the overweight power forward who didn't take care of himself. Next. Who was these players that Shaq was dominating?
No, you won't see me arguing with you because I said it became
David Robinson. Shaq, every good center in the 90s and 2000s, Shaq was dominating. I just named like 4 people.
No, I think y'all having 2 different conversations. His question was, who wasn't he dominating? Who was he going against? Yeah. Who was he going against that he had to get up for?
You said, Alonzo. If Alonzo Mourning is the player that you're dominating, that league is terrible.
What?
Yeah, that's why Yao Ming.
Alonzo Mourning is not an all-time great center.
What are you smoking, bro?
I'm
Alonzo Mourning's the first ballot Hall of Famer.
Yes, he's the first ballot Hall of Famer because he played in the 90s.
Oh, here we go.
Who is these players that he was dominating?
So Alonzo Mourning in the 90s was averaging 21 points, almost 3.5 blocks a game, 10 rebounds.
If 21 and 10 is dominating,
averaged 4 blocks a game in 99, led the league in blocks 2 years, was second in MVP voting. 99 was one two defensive
I'm gonna tell you what. I'm gonna just tell you this. Alonzo
Mourning
is not leading your team anywhere. Alonzo Mourning is not leading your team anywhere, maybe to the second round.
Listen, if you're just going to be blasphemous and ridiculous,
I'm not blasphemous.
I'm not going to.
Alonzo Mourning is not leading your team anywhere. So if you're dominating someone who can't lead your team anywhere, who are you really playing against?
Why do you mean he can't lead his team anywhere when he leads his
team?
Where
the hell is he leading his team?
Scoring, rebounding. He's one of the better defenders.
Where is he leading them to?
You're saying that
the first round, the playoffs.
You're saying that. a guy who's putting up better stats than Bill Russell because they didn't win championships on Michael Jordan's watch. He couldn't lead them anywhere.
Bill Russell was probably averaging 25 boards and 10 blocks and 10 steals a game. So he's
That's
not dominating like
theoretical.
Alonzo Mourning. He's not dominating like, Alonzo Mourning is not dominating like Bill Russell.
So when Alonzo Mourning's leading the league in blocks, winning DPOYs, leading his team and scoring, and like a top 2 defender in the league.
Okay. Ask yourself this question: is Rudy Gobert dominating the NBA?
Rudy Gobert doesn't have near the same stats.
Okay, thank you. He's not, because no one cares about the defensive player of the year. Because defensive player of the year don't mean that you're a great defender.
You heard this.
We saw Marc Gasol. We saw Marc Gasol win defensive player of the year. But Shaq wasn't dominating anybody. I'm sorry.
I'm glad John's here to hear
if Shaq was so good dominating, he would have won some titles before the Lakers in 2000.
Yeah, if LeBron was the GOAT, he wouldn't have waited 9 years to win his first title. You see how stupid that logic is?
Like I said, if he was dominating NBA like you guys said, he would have won before 2000.
What? You know there's more that goes into it than that, B-Lee.
I'm just saying he was not dominating anybody in the NBA like you guys are saying.
Who wasn't dominating nobody in the NBA?
Who was Shaq dominating?
Who wasn't he dominating?
Who was he dominating? I'm trying. You saying that he's dominating Hakeem Olajuwon when he swept him in the playoffs? He dominated. That doesn't make any sense. That doesn't make any sense.
You got to look at individual matchups. You looking at the whole team thing.
Okay, but what individual matchup was he dominating? What individual matchup was he dominating?
Every center he was going against.
Okay, what are these centers? That's what I keep asking. Okay. What are these? You said Alonzo Mourning. That's not
Hakeem Olajuwon, David Robinson.
When did he dominate David Robinson? When did he dominate David Robinson?
Look at any of their matchups, bro.
Whatever Shaq team he was going against, he was dominating that position every time.
When?
Regardless of what year. Let's start 92. Let's start there.
I have never seen Shaquille O'Neal dominate David Robinson for a playoff series.
Question: When they came up with the top 50, what year was that? 96.
Yep.
Yes.
Because that was Shaq's 4th year. He made it, so he was dominating somebody. If he made the top 50 in his 4th year,
okay,
he was dominating somebody.
Who the hell was he dominating?
Bill Russell said himself, "I seen enough."
Okay,
Russell said
no one saying Shaq was not good. No one saying Shaq was not a great player.
Let me ask you a question.
Yes, he was a great player. I'm trying to say, who the hell was he dominating?
Wait, let me ask you a question, Billy. In your mind, does the word dominating only correlate to championships?
No.
You just said that verbatim.
No, I've never said that.
We gave you the numbers that he was hanging on these all-time great centers, and you're like, he wasn't dominating.
You didn't give me any numbers. You didn't give me any.
What?
I haven't seen one number.
In the 96 or the 90, 94 or 95 finals, he averaged like almost 30 a game on Hakeem Olajuwon.
Okay. Yeah, I'm just saying you can't dominate someone that outplayed you and swept you. That's not dominating Hakeem Olajuwon. I'm sorry. I don't know what type. I don't know where this came from. How the hell you gonna dominate someone who outplayed you and swept you?
The Houston Rockets swept the Orlando Magic.
Okay, his matchup was Hakeem Olajuwon. Hakeem Olajuwon outplayed him that series and he swept him. I don't want to hear anything about Shaq dominating Hakeem Olajuwon. That's not happening. You can say he played well versus Hakeem, but he did not dominate Hakeem.
Okay, so wait, did he dominate Tim Duncan in 01 when the Lakers destroyed the Spurs, but Tim Duncan put up fantastic numbers, but he just completely dominated? So he dominated Tim Duncan, right?
Okay.
Even though Kobe was the best player in that series?
2000 to 2002, I always said that Shaq dominated the NBA, but who was his matchups that he was dominating?
Every center.
Tim Duncan outplayed him throughout their career. Tim Duncan outplayed Shaq throughout their career.
So wait, is it dominating or not? So Shaq
Tim Duncan outplayed Shaq throughout his career.
Would Shaq beat Tim Duncan in 01 and 02?
So Shaq averaged 28, 12, 6, shot 60% from the field in the finals of 95. So we are changing the meaning of dominating. That's exactly what we just did. Change the meaning of dominating.
You're saying that he dominated Hakeem, right? That series.
So is Hakeem guarding him? If Hakeem's guarding him, he's dominating him. 60%
Did
from the field.
Did Hakeem outplay Shaquille O'Neal that series?
Again.
Yes or no?
Yes.
Hakeem outplayed him, right? How the hell can you dominate somebody you outplayed him? Oh, so you saying Shaq outplayed Hakeem?
Shaq outplayed Hakeem.
Okay. If you want to say that, all right. Which I don't believe that at all. So when Shaq was winning those titles in 2000, what centers was he dominating? You said all of them. Who were those centers?
Wait, it doesn't matter what we say, Billy. You're just gonna be like,
yeah, I'm just saying. No, I've been asking you guys who was these centers, and you keep naming players that don't make any sense, like Hakeem Olajuwon, who outplayed Shaq and swept them in the finals.
You're not making any sense, dude.
I'm not making any sense because he didn't dominate.
So because he didn't hold, because Shaq didn't hold a top 3 center of all time, and they didn't shut him out. You're saying he
dominated Hakeem Olajuwon in the '95 finals, and I say he did not because Hakeem outplayed him and he swept them.
He dominated Patrick Ewing also, but Patrick Ewing put up numbers.
When did Shaq dominate Patrick Ewing?
Well, dude, also look at their individual matchups, man. I know you're not doing that.
Okay.
Shaq put up numbers probably like.
You can't beat, because who did Orlando beat in the Eastern Conference Finals in '95?
Who did he beat in the Eastern Conference in '95? The Pacers. He played against Rick Smits. Yes, he's better than Rick Smits. I'm not going to say that Rick Smits is better than Shaq. I'm not going to say that.
Why not? Everyone else is apparently.
He should be better than Rick Smits because Rick Smits was not an all-time great center, so he should dominate Rick Smits.
Oh, I mean, you're on this kick, Brandon, and I don't know what.
I'm just saying. I'm just saying. You saying that Shaq dominated Patrick Ewing? When the fuck did he dominate Patrick
Wait.
Ewing?
Let me ask you a question. Did LeBron James dominate Kevin Durant in 2018?
Now the better question:
LeBron has never dominated Kevin Durant.
The question is, did he dominate Golden State in 15? In 15, did he dominate Golden State in 2015?
LeBron played better than everybody in that series versus Golden State.
But it doesn't matter. Did he dominate? They lost, right?
I didn't. I never say he dominated them. I say he played better than everybody on that court.
No, he was the most dominant player on that court. He was the most dominant player.
He outplayed everybody. Yes, he outplayed everybody. He got votes for Finals MVP.
Yeah, he was second in voting for Finals MVP that year.
Yeah. But Kevin Durant averaging 33 points a game on 58% shooting and 42% from 3 on LeBron's watch. You don't have that same energy for LeBron though, do you?
What energy is that? I just said he has never dominated Kevin Durant. Kevin Durant could not be dominated.
I think he dominated Kevin Durant.
Kevin Durant couldn't do anything with LeBron. That's the whole point.
No, because he couldn't even.
And LeBron cannot do it. LeBron cannot guard Kevin Durant. Kevin Durant cannot.
And so it's not a knock on Shaq to say that Hakeem Olajuwon did numbers to him, but he also did numbers to Hakeem Olajuwon, a top 2 defensive center of all time.
I never said that Shaq dominated Hakeem. Y'all said that. I said Shaq did dominate Hakeem.
My definition of dominating a matchup is if they can't stop you on the offensive end. If you're doing something against them, which was 80% of Shaq's matchups, you're talking about these instances where other all-time centers were doing numbers against him and acting like that's a knock on him.
Who did I say was doing numbers against him? Who? I said Hakeem outplayed Shaq. That's the only person that I have ever said outplayed Shaq, and that was in Shaq's 3rd year.
What do we base off? King dominated Shaq. What do we base that off of?
Shaq could not stop him.
What do
and Hakeem and Shaq couldn't win a game because he wasn't able to dominate Hakeem Olajuwon to win games.
Okay,
and Hakeem was able to do that
because of the numbers Hakeem put up.
He could not stop. Shaq could not stop Hakeem Olajuwon in his third year.
What was Hakeem doing against Shaq?
Hakeem Olajuwon was scoring at will against Shaq.
Okay, what was Shaq?
He was not. What you say?
What was Shaq doing versus Hakeem?
Shaq was scoring versus Hakeem. He did outplay him.
He shot 60% from the field.
He did outplay him. He did not outplay
He didn't miss
Hakeem
much. 50% of the
Olajuwon. He did
field,
not outplay
Stephanie,
Hakeem
you don't
Olajuwon.
miss much.
He didn't outplay Hakeem Olajuwon, so he could not dominate Hakeem Olajuwon.
I think we've changed the meaning of dominate. And
So, Brandon, yeah, we have. So, Brandon, it wasn't that the Houston Rockets shot 40%
I mean,
from three.
dominating somebody is they don't have a chance versus you, offensively and defensively. That's dominating somebody.
And defensively,
Michael Jordan
that.
Dominated John Starks. John Starks didn't have a damn chance versus Jordan.
So the equivalent to Hakeem Olajuwon.
Hakeem Olajuwon and Shaq.
So the equivalent.
When the hell has
Shaq
dominated Hakeem Olajuwon?
So here's the flaw in your argument there, Brendan.
Never. There's no flaw in it because Shaq never dominated
because
Hakeem.
You're saying no. The flaw in your argument is because you're not going to keep that same energy for any other great. If you're using this like this to like knock Shaq's ranking.
Give me a comparison. Give me a comparison.
Okay, let's take Larry Bird versus Magic Johnson. They did numbers versus each other the entire time, but you're not going to be like, I'm going to use that, his failings on the defensive end versus Bird when he guarded him, to knock Magic from his all-time rank. Let's take another example. Let's see. What? How about Bill Russell versus Will Chamberlain? They were doing numbers like offensively and defensively versus each other, but you're not ever going to say, you know what? He hung like 30 points a game on Bill Russell whenever did that, so he's above Bill Russell, in my opinion. You're never, ever going to do that. Same thing.
Wait, hold on. What are you talking about when I'm saying putting somebody above somebody? When did I put anybody above? Because
Will Chamberlain.
When did I put somebody above Shaq? Who did I put above Shaq?
Why else would you argue that this dumb who did he dominate theory then? Like, who cares? We know what he did. He put up numbers versus everyone. He didn't hold everyone to 0 points, but he still dominated.
Who dominated? Who you talking about? Shaq?
Yeah. There were games when Arvydas Sabonis was doing numbers against Shaq. Does that mean he was a better player?
I don't, Travis. I don't know what you're talking about. I'm just saying Shaq didn't dominate Hakeem Olajuwon. When the hell I say Shaq did dominate?
You literally were saying he didn't dominate anyone except for shitty centers.
I said who did he dominate? That's what I said. I didn't say he never.
Tom McCullough, Dikembe Mutombo, Rick Smith.
Yep. He did.
Alonzo Mourning. All these players that we just talked about. Every player
he dominated those players. Like I'm not gonna.
And you're going to say
he never dominated Hakeem Olajuwon in 95. He could have dominated him in 1998, 2000. He didn't dominate him in 95. I'm pretty sure
so
when
it's not
Hakeem
more
was
of
playing on the Raptors, Shaq
so
was
it's not
dominating him.
more of a knock on Hakeem Olajuwon, who's like a top 2 center of all time or defensive center of all time, that he let Shaq score like 30 points a game on 60% shooting against him. That's not a knock on Hakeem, but more on like third-year Shaq.
I mean, I didn't say Hakeem dominated Shaq. I said Hakeem outplayed Shaq in that finals.
Prime Hakeem, prime like MVP, DPOY Hakeem is beating.
Shaq was in his third year. I said Shaq was in his third year.
Can't contain third-year Shaq offensively, but he outscored him. But Shaq gets no credit.
I mean, how you get credit for getting swept in finals?
What the fuck are we talking about, dude?
Let me actually look what Hakeem did that series, because you guys acting like
I already know what he did that series. He was like 32-11.
Really?
Yeah. 32-11-5, be exact. On only 48% shooting, but still pretty good.
So wait, you know, when players get the Finals MVP because they have the higher game score, because that means that the players who played the best in that series, you know, Hakeem had the highest game score in that series because he was the best player in that series. That's why I'm saying Shaq did not dominate Hakeem that series. I'm not saying Shaq didn't dominate Hakeem when he was on the Raptors. I said in 1995, Shaq did not dominate Hakeem Olajuwon. And it's pretty obvious that he did not, because Hakeem averaged almost 33 points a game on Shaq.
Okay, so if Shaq had, let's say, scored 40 a game on, would you say, but he still lost, would you say that he dominated Hakeem?
I mean, I'm pretty sure if he averaged 40, the Magic would have swept the Rockets. But Shaq was not that player yet.
Okay, all right. So now it's just a matter of actual just numbers.
No, yeah, because
I mean,
the goalpost.
What are we removing? Hakeem outscored him, outplayed him, and swept him. What are you guys talking about?
We
How
moved.
can Shaq dominate someone when he gets outplayed? Like I said at the beginning, Hakeem outplayed him and he swept him. Shaq did not dominate Hakeem Olajuwon in 1995 NBA Finals.
I know Will Chamberlain averaged 30 and 20 versus Bill Russell, and Bill Russell won all them championships. But we don't say Will Chamberlain didn't dominate Bill Russell. We don't say that. That's your equivalent right there. That's your equivalent right there. Will Chamberlain dominated Bill Russell, and Bill Russell still won. Shaq dominated Hakeem. Sorry, Hakeem won.
Shaq did not dominate Hakeem by getting outplayed. I'm sorry. You cannot dominate someone if you get outplayed. I'm sorry. I don't know how that's possible. I don't know why y'all want to say Shaq outplayed Hakeem. I don't understand this narrative. I never heard once before that Shaq outplayed Hakeem in that finals until today.
That wasn't the first time you didn't hear.
That's literally the first time. I never heard someone said that Shaq outplayed Hakeem in that finals. I never heard that until
no
today.
one said he outplayed Hakeem. Dude. We're saying he was doing numbers against Hakeem. That's literally what we said.
No one said that Shaq was getting destroyed. I never said that. I said Hakeem outplayed him. You said Shaq dominated Hakeem in that final series, which he did not. And now you're trying to switch up the story. You're trying to pull back. Because you're trying to pull back when I actually showed you the numbers. Hakeem averaged 33 and 12.
We already knew the numbers.
And got the game score like I knew before that he outplayed him.
It's your definition of series. It's your definition of dominating.
This your definition of dominating.
Didn't Houston shoot like 43% from three that series?
It doesn't really matter what they shot. Shaq did not outplay Hakeem Olajuwon.
The Houston Rockets definitely beat the Orlando Magic. But Shaq was dominating his side of the court.
Shaq played well. He played well. No one said Shaq was a bum that series. No one said that. I said that Hakeem played better than Shaq. That's all. And the stats say he did. The stats say that he did outplay.
So let's say he played better. Like, who cares? What's your point?
What's my point? What you talking about? I just say he did outplay him.
Shaq will be doing what Giannis is doing in the NBA today. That's exactly what will be happening.
Oh, no.
Shaq will be doing what Giannis doing.
Skills.
At least what he was doing. At least what
he doesn't have those skills to do with what Giannis is doing.
That's a terrible take, Elias.
He doesn't have those.
We expected more from you here.
To play with Giannis. I'm sorry. He doesn't
have
those skills.
He does everything Giannis did, but better, except for take the ball up the court.
No, he doesn't have the ball handling skills like Giannis has.
God. Giannis isn't breaking people down.
He doesn't have the physique that Giannis has. Shaq could not move like Giannis. He don't.
Oh my God! I'm really convinced you didn't watch any Shaq games, dude. I'm really convinced.
I've watched more Shaq games than you, Travis. What are you talking about?
Fuck no, you haven't.
How you figure that?
Guaranteed. I watched almost every single ever. Not only have I gone back and studied his Orlando career, but I literally watched virtually every single game from when he joined the Lakers up until, let's say, he got traded to Phoenix. That's it. And he was a monster.
Okay, I watched those games with Shaq as well. I watched his whole career.
Yeah. So how can you say that he doesn't have any skill sets in his repertoire?
What are you talking? I say he doesn't have the skill set that Giannis have. What are you guys hearing? Y'all hearing two opposite things. I'm saying the same damn things. He doesn't have the skill set that Giannis have. He does not. I'm sorry. Shaq does not have the skill set that Jokic have. I'm sorry. He doesn't have those skills.
Giannis is one of the most one-dimensional players in the league.
And he still doesn't have that skill set. Giannis doesn't have the skill.
Giannis has added a decent mid-range.
He doesn't have the skill set of Shaq. Giannis doesn't have the skill set of Alonzo Mourning.
Shaq was effective Shaq was overly effective in what he did. You need to go back and watch some of the games.
Yeah, he was in the time he played. The era he played in, he did.
Do we believe Giannis walked into the NBA with the skill set he has today? Or did he develop some of that skill set as he got bigger, stronger, and knowing he had to get on the court? Yep. I don't think it was any different with Shaq if he was playing today. He will have to develop that skill set to be on the court today.
Giannis is the only person who has the skill set he has. So there's not saying that Shaq is going to develop somebody else's skills that no one else has. No one is doing the shit Giannis is doing.
I'll just say this, like, so from
no one in NBA
Orlando
is doing the stuff that
Orlando
Giannis
Shaq
is doing.
until like '98, he was a rare, like an unheard of combination of height, weight, and speed. Like he was fast, he was quick, he could go around you, he could.
He was quick for those centers back in the day. Yes.
No, he was quick for any center. What?
Yeah. He was quick for centers. He was elite.
He could get to his position.
He was back in the day. Yes.
He was quicker than almost every center today.
Yeah, for those centers back in the day, yes, he was.
Oh,
he was.
Yeah, I thought we could leave all agendas. Yeah, like you think
no
Orlando Shaq wouldn't be? That's almost too stupid to reply to. Dude.
Orlando Shaq was quick and fast. I mean,
yes, compared to those players back in the day.
Yeah, he didn't rely all the time on like moving people out of the way. He could go around him. He could do everything that he did in Lakers land, but he was a little bit faster.
Tell me the quickest centers today.
Yeah, please.
I mean, Anthony Davis is quicker than Shaq.
No, he's not. 92 Orlando Shaq? No, he wasn't.
Well, he was.
If he tried to go full speed, if he tried to go half the speed of Orlando Shaq,
Bam
AD would be hurt.
is quicker. I mean, yeah, okay. Shaq is quicker
Bam's
than
a bum.
Bam is quicker than Shaq.
No, he wasn't. No, he wasn't.
Yes, yeah. He is.
Not that earlier Shaq.
No.
I mean,
you guys. 95 Shaq would run circles around Bam.
Yes.
Okay.
Go on. No, Jokic is the best player in the league, and he like Jokic, like us three would roll circles around Jokic while sitting down.
I doubt any of us would run circles around Jokic.
No, but Jokic is the best player in the league, but he's also like one of the slowest centers.
Yes, slower compared to the centers today, not slower than a person who's not in the NBA.
What?
Yeah.
Jokic, by his own admission, he has no vertical. He's slow as fuck. But again, he's the best player because of how smart he is and how skilled he is. Has nothing to do with his physical attributes.
I'm pretty sure if you put you and Jokic on the court, Jokic would drive past you every single time, 10 out of 10 times, and dunk the ball.
Okay, man.
10 out of 10 times.
We're still waiting for these fast-ass centers. Come on. With Jokic. Patrick Ewing was faster than anyone today, almost in his prime.
Patrick Ewing?
So was David Robinson.
Probably until 1990.
David Robinson would be like a 30 and 15 guy today because of how fast he is. Prime David 94 David Robinson would be the MVP.
No 30 and 15. He definitely.
David Robinson would be the MVP today. 94 David Robinson would be the MVP. Why?
David Robinson definitely won't be no 30 and 15 today.
Okay.
What couldn't David Robinson do today?
I mean, David Robinson would be good, but who's averaging 30 and 15 today?
David Robinson would be a better Joel Embiid.
No, who's averaging 30 and 15 today?
Giannis.
Who else? And Giannis is not averaging no 30 and 15. Giannis is not averaging. I said who's averaging 30. I said David Robinson is not averaging 30 and 15 today. I said who's averaging 30 and 15 today? Giannis is not averaging 30 and 15 today.
Yeah, he is. He's at what, 30 and 12, 30, 13?
I'm gonna repeat myself. Giannis is not averaging 30 and 15 today. He's not. Simple as that. I don't care if he's averaging 30 and 12. That's not 30 and 15. I don't care if he's averaging 40 and 11. That's not 30 and 15. He's not averaging 30 and 15 today.
You're right. Let me take it back to 2 rebounds. Let me take it back to 2 rebounds. Okay.
Dave Robinson, like if you say 25 and 12, like okay, he can average 25 and 12.
I just think your aversion to your built-in hate to like 90s basketball because of your fixation on
hate.
Because you were fixated on
hate because
you do.
David Robinson won't average 30 and 15. David Robinson has never averaged 30 and 15. No one's averaging 30 and 15 today. Just because I say Shaq did dominate Hakeem when he got outplayed by Hakeem in '95 finals.
You're missing the entire point of the argument.
What you said I'm hating because of my hate for the '90s. No, he's not.
You are. You're just saying centers back then, centers then. But you couldn't even name 3 centers who could match those guys' speed.
I mean,
You
I
said
just named
Bam. You
two.
said Bam and AD. Laughable.
They are both faster than Shaq ever
No,
was.
they're-
Yeah,
That's not true.
Shaq could not run the floor like 30
Oh,
He
feet.
actually can run the
God.
floor better than both of them.
He says
actually
better.
runs,
He's
he
better.
can actually run the floor better than both of them.
Who?
Shaq.
Okay.
They didn't run the floor like Shaq used to run the middle of the floor and get them early dunks.
Yeah.
Shaq used to sprint middle floor.
Yep, Shaq and D-Rob.
I mean, if players could do that today, that would be great. If you could just run down the middle or jog down the court and sit in the post and
Happens all the
score.
time.
Yeah, I wish players could do that today. Yeah, everyone would be averaging 30 and 15 if they could do that today. But
Carrington Joyce says the Admiral
That's
would
not
average
happening.
about 27, 13. That's a good stat line. I believe that's pretty close to what he would do.
Well, that'd be
Carrington
great
Joyce.
if you could.
Anyway, before Brandon sidetracked us on this ridiculous, nonsensical rant.
I mean, you guys just saying stuff that would never happen. That's all.
Okay. Anyway, Availus, show us your. Okay. So to the chat, the topic of this week's three-way debate is
let me
Even though
post this.
we already kind of had it.
that we almost were basically debating last hour. Was okay. So B. Lee's idea, his turn to pick it, was what are the three best, or actually your idea, B. Lee, go ahead, introduce it.
Yeah. Okay. So we wanted to have a debate about a certain topic. So I said, okay, let's think about like three centers that we would pick to choose to basically start our franchise with. So we could go around in a circle. Each of us pick one at first until we all get to three. So who wants to go first?
I definitely can go first. I mean,
okay, go ahead, because we could not pick the same player though. If someone pick our player, we got to pick somebody else. We cannot pick the same player.
Oh, so we're only doing one?
No, we're picking. We taking turns picking a center, but we get up to three.
Okay.
So after the third attempt, so John, you can go first.
Man, the guy who averaged 50 points for a season, who got the most points for the record for most points in a season. He got the first and second. Wilt Chamberlain. I mean, he led the league in assists at one point at 8.8 a game. He's led the league in scoring. One of the most dominant players. He's athletic. He's quick. He had a nice fadeaway jump shot. His footwork was crazy. I mean, I believe Wilt Chamberlain is easily number one. I mean, it's not too many people in history. There's only one player that I think is his equivalent, and I just said Wilt. So it would take one of y'all to say the other guy.
All right, go ahead, Trav. You have second. I could go last.
Well, obviously, I've said this. Like in any theoretical draft of all time, I'm taking Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. I mean, to me, it's when you're talking about a player who, especially when you're talking about the semi-modern era where there are more teams, more competition, much more ways to defend you. You don't get to take 40 shots a game if you want to average 50 points a game and 17 free throws a game. Like Kareem, and you're expected to shoot 55-60%. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar did that from like 70 all the way to 80. So arguably maybe like the highest peak and prime of all time when he was averaging basically like 29 points, anywhere between 13 to 15 rebounds, leading the league in blocks every year when they was starting to be tracked. And he was, a great facilitator too. And he was winning first team all defense almost every single year during his prime. So like when he was doing that, avoided injury, to me it's a clear number one pick where you're getting a reliable lockdown center who's also going to give you insanely high scoring average on excellent efficiency. And he's going to be, he's going to be able to, like no other center to me has achieved, especially when you're talking about when the game had evolved a little bit, had really achieved that height and that consistency other than him during that time period. I mean, you could argue like maybe Shaq, but I don't think Shaq was as good defensively.
Okay. Okay. So this player I'm gonna pick a safe pick because I know that he would not get dominated on any end of the court. And he's one of the best leaders of all time. So I'm gonna pick
You
Tim
can't pick
Duncan.
LeBron.
Tim Duncan as the first person I'll pick because he's not going to get dominated by
Is he a
anybody.
center?
Shaq could do it. Yeah, hell yeah, Tim Duncan center. Shaq couldn't do it. Wilt ain't going to be able to do it. Kareem may have the best chance, but then again, he has to go down on the other end and defend Tim Duncan as well. So Tim Duncan, if I had any player of all time draft, anybody, it would be Tim Duncan because I know he could fit anywhere and he will be the best defensive player because he is a great defensive player as well, and he's a awesome offensive player, and he just to me he's a top 5 player of all time anyway. But I will put Tim Duncan as my center if I started a franchise versus any center all time. All right.
So the greatest power forward in history is a center.
Tim Duncan is a 7-foot center. He
He
plays
was
center.
listed as center for what, like
He half his
1,
career
2
he was
seasons?
listed as center. You guys don't know about Tim Duncan. That's the problem. He played half his year as center, and the only reason it was because of that was because David Robinson was on his
Because he
team.
played with David Robinson, yeah.
But he was a center. He played center. He played like a center. He played in the post. There's nothing about a power forward that
I'm not
is
mad
Tim
at that
Duncan.
pick. I mean, that's
Yeah,
fine. He
Tim
did play
Duncan.
center a whole lot.
Yeah, Tim Duncan.
I do know one player would dominate Tim Duncan.
Who was that?
Wilt Chamberlain.
No way.
Yes,
Wilt
he
Chamberlain
would.
not dominate Tim Duncan.
He would dominate Tim Duncan.
No
And the only
way.
reason I say that because you said he would get dominated. He would get that. You actually looking at the equivalent of a more offensive-minded player in Tim Duncan and Wilt Chamberlain.
No way.
Dude, 72 Kareem would fold Tim Duncan.
You said what?
No,
72
never mind.
Kareem? No.
He would poop on him. Go ahead, John.
No.
Who's your second guy?
No.
I wanted to go with one of the best defensive centers of all time. He should have won Defensive Player of the Year 4 years in a row. He won it 3 years in a row, and that's Dwight Howard.
Okay.
One of the most athletic centers in league history. I do wish he was more offensive minded, but he was great defensively on the backboard. He intimidated you to come to the rim. Players didn't like. He was built like a truck, and he acted like that too. And I love the job he did on Joker in 2020 in the bubble. He had that mindset that anytime you move, I move. I was just watching him play with him the other day when Joker was walking. Dwight Howard was walking right next to him, side to side. Dwight Howard talking about in the bubble how when they were eating lunch, Dwight Howard would show his face just so he'd know I'm always watching. I'm right there. And Dwight Howard had that mindset of a center that defensively, I'm gonna bring it every game. Not a play I'm not bringing it, and offensively, I'm gonna give you that 20 points a game, and I'm a 20 and 15 guy a night with 3-4 blocks. So my second pick is Dwight Howard.
All right, let's hear it, Travis.
That's really good. I mean, John did say that he was going to pick someone who we didn't expect, and we're like, okay. I'm actually going to pick another guy who won 4 DPOYs. That's Ben Wallace. If I'm building a team, and I want, especially in today's league, I want some guy who's nimble, quick, is arguably a top 3 defensive player of all time, not just among centers, but all time. And that shows up. Like you talked about the 04 Pistons when he was in his prime. They were arguably the best defense of all time. He goes and does the same thing to the 07 Bulls a few years later. And that's without any, like you say, like who was the best defender, like Tayshaun Prince. Like this is a guy who's on off defensively is second only to like David Robinson and Hakeem Olajuwon. If you're doing like centers who played at least 800 games, like it's insane. So I'm taking Ben Wallace, especially in today's game where I can build around him. I can get shooters. I can get everyone who's he's quick enough to cover the perimeter. He can guard any position. He's mentally sound or defensively sound as far as his IQ. And I think that you can build any kind of a team around this guy, and that's been proven.
Okay, so that's
Travis,
probably
who was your first pick again?
Huh?
Who was your first pick again?
Kareem.
Okay, I was just making sure. Okay.
Yeah, that's I guess Ben Meanwhile is probably a bad pick, and Duncan. I mean, not Duncan. Dwight. That's probably not a good pick either. But but if I'm starting, this is my second center that I would start is Kevin Garnett. He could play today. He wouldn't.
He's a power forward, bro.
Okay. Yeah, he's a center. He could play center today. Like I said, if I had a center in today's game, it would be.
Can I pick Dominic Wilkins?
Yes.
You can pick him if you want. He can't play center, but Kevin Garnett can play center. He's guarded center. He started as center in the NBA. He plays center for Boston. I mean. Kevin Garnett can play center.
You're going back on your own rules there, B.
I mean, how the hell can Kevin Garnett not play center?
Like, I don't think he can't. We're just saying, okay, what's he listed as?
Always who cares what he listed as? Like LeBron listed as a small forward, power forward. He's a point guard.
Okay.
I mean, he's a point guard. If I had a point guard, it would be LeBron James. He's not listed as point guard because they list him as a power forward today.
I take Sam Cassell over LeBron James.
But anyway, Kevin Garnett. Hard-nosed player, offensive, defensively great. The only player that I would not choose is Tim Duncan as my starting center. It's going to be Kevin Garnett. He's going to be nasty, get in your face, talk shit to you. There's no way on earth Ben Wallace or Dwight Howard has a chance versus Kevin Garnett in the first place offensively, and Kevin Garnett is going to outplay him. They can't score on him anyway. Maybe Dwight may get a few tip dunks, but Kevin Garnett definitely would be a great center. If he played today, the only center who would be better than him is probably Jokic. Maybe. Yeah, Jokic. And then Tim Duncan. The only player today that would be better than Tim Duncan is probably Jokic. I mean, Tim Duncan dominated Shaq, so, hey, let's leave it up to those two. Like, I mean, you guys pick Wilt Chamberlain. He can't play with players today. And then he can maybe. I mean, Kareem.
Shaq beat Tim Duncan more in the playoffs than Duncan beat him. You realize that?
I doubt it.
He did.
I gotta go check that. But I know throughout their career,
for you.
I know throughout their career, Tim Duncan outplayed Shaq throughout.
Even in 01, 02, and 04.
I don't care. 01, 05, 2012, Duncan outplayed Shaq throughout his whole career.
All right, John.
My last center, this guy, they built a team around him, and there's no center in history who won more than him. Nobody. Period. I mean, so if you want to say we built around this center, he won more than every center that you can name. And some of these centers, I could combine your centers, and he still won more than them. He's known as the best defensive center of all time. Not some of the time, all the time. And that's Bill Russell, number 6 for the Boston Celtics. Period. They built the team around him. He won. He won. He won. He won. He won. He won.
Did he win, though?
So, I mean, 8 straight championships, which is still a record today. A total of 11 championships. Again, another record still today. No player in team sports history has won more championships than Bill Russell. So if you want to talk about building the team and us going through with it, it's Bill Russell, and that's the end of the conversation. I ain't got nothing else to say. I should just say Bill Russell, and I should have just shut up after that.
That's what you think. I got something about that, just so you know. I've been waiting for someone to say Bill Russell.
I mean, my third pick is probably going to be. There's a lot of people on the board, obviously, that we left, but I'm going to take. I got to take the Dream. I mean, it's so rare to find like a combination of not only he was great offensively, but his defensive prowess. especially when you're talking about him having win against the best centers of all time, like from the 80s to the 90s, and he was like no one was stopping him. Like, and his impact on both ends, especially defensively, was especially from like 88 to like 94 was unheard of. The only other peak was early 2000 Duncan, maybe like early 90s Robinson as well. When you're talking about the difference when he was off the court as far as when he was on it as well, especially on that end. Hakeem was a difference maker. Definitely should have had more than 2 championships, but he came in when the league was maybe at its least balance as far as parity went. And so for me, Hakeem can play. He can play in any era. No one really had an answer for him on either end. And if you're just talking about the best two-way players of all time, objectively, I mean, maybe the only person I put above him, if you could think about it, was, I mean, I don't want to say Jordan because I think that he was better defensively than Jordan. But I think he was probably the best two-way player of all time. Then it's maybe Kareem, David Robinson, and then, you take your pick from there. But to me, it's Hakeem is. If anyone says I want to draft Hakeem Olajuwon over anybody else, it's what it is. I can't possibly formulate an argument to that.
Okay. I don't know why the hell you would choose Hakeem when third year Shaq was dominating Hakeem in his prime, but that's but I'm crazy. I'm crazy. I don't know what I'm talking about, but
Agreed.
Yeah, that I guess it makes a whole lot of sense if you don't think about it, right, Travis? It makes a whole lot of sense if you don't think about it. Because if you think about what y'all was arguing about, y'all proved my point earlier. Bill Russell. I mean, that's like saying I'm gonna drive my number one pick is gonna be Jim Brown. No, I'm not picking Jim Brown. I'm picking somebody like Barry Sanders or somebody. I mean, yes, we're not. If we're starting the league in the 60s, I'll pick Bill Russell. If this is like the 50s.
If you like negative yards, you go ahead and pick Barry Sanders.
Yeah, what a like negative yards. If you like 80-yard runs,
give me Adrian Peterson over anyone.
Yeah, I mean, come on now. Just like Jerry West. Let's just keep like they were great in their time period, but that's not all-time person you will pick on your court. Like if we had 10 centers, if you didn't even have a name to the back of their jerseys, Bill Russell would not be picked. If you had the all-time 10 centers in a draft, just like Tom Brady and like if we had centers, Michael Vick quarterbacks, Michael Vick would be picked before Tom Brady if we just had a draft. But it's fine. I would still take Brady. Yeah, if we had a draft, no one's picking Tom Brady over Michael Vick. Yes, Tom Brady's better than him. Yeah, I will give him that.
What idiots are drafting Vick over Brady? Tell me that.
Think about the guy who
30 out of 30 teams.
Are they on coke?
If 30 out of 30 teams, if they see Tom Brady was a 6th round pick, Michael Vick was the first pick.
Yeah, but we have the benefit of hindsight with your entire career.
Yeah, I'm just saying if they didn't have no name on their jersey and it was just a draft, no one would pick Tom Brady over Michael Vick. I'm not saying Michael Vick better than Tom Brady. I'm just saying no one would pick him. Just like if Bill Russell came into
who's your third player?
Okay, here's my third.
I want to ask the chat question: who's the best power forward in history? Just answer that question, and then go ahead.
It's Duncan, but I don't care if he's a power forward. He's playing center on my team. I don't care if LeBron James is small forward. He's playing point guard on my team. Yeah, okay. Like I said, Jokic. I don't know. I was just letting you guys have Jokic because I thought he would be like the first or second one picked. The dude is unstoppable. The skill level he has is better than anybody you guys name. I mean, he would run circles offensively around anybody, and no one would just destroy him offensively. Y'all didn't even pick Shaq, and all that argument y'all was doing about Shaq, about how great he was, but no one picked Jokic. Like this, that should have. I'm trying to give y'all a gimme.
I'm consistent. I don't pick Jokic for anything because his career is still going on. I mean, he's already better than like what? He's already better than like 2 or 3 spins, but I want to Like if we're talking all-time draft.
I was gonna pick Wemby because I thought someone was gonna pick Jokic. So I mean, if he's on the board, I'm gonna pick Jokic. But Wemby is a better prospect than all the players that y'all picked.
He's not a better prospect than Wilt.
Yes, he is.
You know,
I know he. Wilt was great in the 60s.
We don't need prospects. We have these players in their careers in front of us. Prospect is what you think they might do.
Yeah, well, if we talk about what Bill Russell and Wilt Chamberlain might do, like they didn't have the skills that these guys had today. So what that would be, you should pick them anyway. Then, if that's the case,
you missed the change rules in the NBA before.
I don't care about those change rules. I would change rules all they want.
You can't jump from the free throw line. You can't jump from the free throw line to shoot a free throw. You know, rule changes like that. So,
I mean, who the hell would want to jump? Come on now.
I mean, the guy who was making free throws from jumping from the free throw line.
Jump from free throws damn line, looking goofy today.
It would. I mean, now that we got. Yeah, but you did say Jokic, and your equivalent is Wilt Chamberlain. So,
if I'm starting a franchise, it would be Jokic was probably, Duncan.
I mean, that's not a bad answer, man. Pick. But like, if you're
Garnett's a great pick, Jokic.
To our defense, though, let's talk. You're talking about prospects, right? Jokic was nothing special like his first couple of years before he just decided to become this god. And like, so you're just saying, oh, whatever, you would have dismissed him just as easily as we did. Like, it's not. And same thing with Wemby. Yeah, Wemby's amazing, but you can't be like, oh, 1.5 years is in his belt. You're going to take him over proven gods that we named. No, that's disingenuous.
No, not at all. I mean, you guys are picking for what you think they're going to do if you start a team with them with all the best players of all time.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
I mean, no, it's not up to me or John. Yeah. We're leaving the chat to decide who has the best 3 and why.
I mean,
Mr. One championship, okay.
Yeah.
I mean, Will has 2. Come on now, John. Will has 2. Come on now.
I mean, would you want $2 or $1? I mean,
hey, apparently people want 32 billion over 40. So hey, I heard crazier things. Before.
I got you. I like that one. I like that comeback. So yeah, I mean, yeah. Yeah, thank you. Somebody said that I cleared this, so I mean,
yeah. But Lauren's been like,
you had the worst 3, John. You had the worst 3, John.
I had the most dominant 3. I'm
just gonna say.
Mars been drunk the whole time though.
Let me see how many championships. 11, 13, yes, 14 championships.
John, don't.
That's called dominating. I'm dominating this conversation. You know that. Wait a minute.
We're talking about with the best guys of all time.
Who has individually the most MVPs out of all the centers we named? The one I picked. Okay.
Kareem.
The one I picked. Yes.
You didn't pick Kareem. Did you pick Kareem?
No, I did.
He picked,
John, what you going around here lying for?
He did. My bad.
Why you going around here lying for? See, that's the problem. You guys keep lying the whole show. That's the problem. You've been lying. You didn't take off that Cubs hat because you keep lying.
I got the second most. Because Bill Russell got 5. I
don't care about MVP. All I know, the players that I pick has MVPs too. That's all that matters. And they got titles.
You blasphemed against Bill Russell, though, Brandon. We don't know how viable your opinion is after that.
I mean, you put Kevin Garnett on the same floor as Bill Russell. Kevin Garnett will outplay Bill Russell. I'm just saying.
You should have said
Kevin Garnett is bigger than Bill Russell.
Was your center
Kevin Garnett is taller than Bill Russell. No, I would not have.
So wait, is Kevin Garnett wearing Converse and like eating like burgers before the game?
That's why we keep those guys in the 60s. That's why. Because
it's about what they did in their era, dude. That's what all matters.
That's what they did. That's why we put them all on the floor at the same time. And they put them all on the floor at the same time would be a different story. That's like saying I'm about to put Bart Starr in the NFL today. No, you're not doing that. I'm about to put Babe Ruth on the Yankees today. No, you're not doing that. You're not doing that.
I put Jim Brown on the floor today.
Yeah, and Jim Brown's gonna get rocked.
And I put Dan Marino on the for today.
Yes, Dan Marino was the
Dan Marino didn't play 50 years ago. He played 40.
Well, Beely, put that thing in the chat right now, buddy. Let's see what they decide. So for the chat, you guys are gonna get the poll.
Lauren Hayes do not count. Lauren Hayes do not count. Do not count. Do not count. I saw the comments earlier. Do not count.
Hey, Lauren Hayes,
do not count. Let's just disregard Lauren Hayes.
Sounds like a very smart person.
Hayes is. I don't know if that's Travis. I don't know if that's Travis' wife, girlfriend, whatever, daughter. Who knows?
Yeah, I'm starting
to about how handsome he is.
I'm starting to think Lauren Hayes had my phone when he picked that. He gave that Johnny Kerr. I didn't think nobody was gonna come up with that. I knew you was gonna have to Google that answer.
Oh yeah, that was fast too.
So yeah, I mean, what y'all think about these games that's been played over this past week? I mean, y'all got Shea MVP. He your MVP, B-Lee?
Yeah, he's gonna get MVP. I don't think there's no reason to actually give Jokic the MVP, even though he should be MVP. So
I got you. You know how you made the example that it was no way that Andrew Wiggins would have won Finals MVP because they had to get Steph Curry that MVP.
Mm-hmm.
It's the same thing. They giving it to Shea, even though I mean
everybody knows Jokic should be MVP. I don't think that's a question. I don't think it's a question. Everybody knows he should be MVP.
So
yeah. I mean, the argument for Shea is like, I mean, so yeah, Jokic destroys in a way that we haven't ever seen as far as advanced metrics, and like if you're talking about just on off for his team, it clears everyone in history. Not just Shea this year, but like his impact measurably by points allowed, even defensively, like he clears. He has like the best number of all time. But like the argument for Shea is that like even though they still play 500 ball without him. Like he's having a great offensive year, amazing. They're so far up in the standings, and that's with multiple people being injured.
And they officially got the best record in NBA because Cleveland lost 4 straight. So
yeah, Cleveland's getting exposed right now. So I mean, they're gonna win. They're gonna have home court. I mean, as far as a huge choke, they should get to at least the Western Conference Finals, but I think they're gonna.
I mean, Shea is playing great. Like he's played amazing. Like he'll win any guard in the last like 20 years. No one has a season like other than I think I guess we'd say Harden, but Harden team wasn't as great when he won that MVP. I don't
even Harden, like, he's having a better year than Harden had that year.
Yeah, like this season has been great, but
they had the breakdown with Shea. They had the breakdown with Shea, Jordan, and Harden. Shea's having a better year than those guys. It was certain years they had picked. I wish I would have remembered some of the stuff. Shea is having a great year. I mean, I'm not saying he's not having a great year. I just believe we all know who the MVP is. And it's messed up because last week, Billy, I told you that I believe that sometimes they decide the MVP before the season starts.
They do.
And like last year, since I think they was going to give it to Embiid, but he had got hurt. So the second place guy was Jokic, so I'm going to give it to Jokic, even though there was no doubt who the MVP was last year, which was Shea. So they decided to make up for not giving him the MVP and giving it to him this year. And Jokic is having a better year than he had last year.
I don't think they decide who's the MVP, but I think they pick the order of the MVP.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
They literally picked the order.
That's why I said Embiid was going to be the MVP, and then they went with the second guy, which was Jokic. So they decided the order of the MVP. So
because I think this year Jokic may have started at like third or fourth. So it's going to be hard for him to climb up to number one.
But like the thing is that you never hear like really anybody talking about, besides us, obviously. Like they're talking about like the team success and things like that. They don't really deep dive the numbers and like realize that This might be the best offensive season anyone's ever had, like in history, from a shooting splits perspective, production, like just a regular stat line, advanced metric. Like no one's ever touched it
He's on
aside
that
from
pace. He's on that
yeah,
pace. Yeah.
yeah. He's just like alone with that, like, and it's just insane to think that like this proves beyond a shadow of a doubt. There's zero criteria. Like when you talk about because everyone has an opinion, everyone has a vote. They all think different ways, and I don't know what we can do about that, short of like AI, in the future. But it's just to me like the most valuable player is Jokic, and I don't think it's really even close, especially if you look at team impact. But as far as team success and just having an amazing year, SGA, yeah, SGA would if Jokic wasn't here, SGA would win going away, no question. Second guess bet, yeah, would be honest, but it wouldn't even be close. You know, so I mean, I'm not mad. I don't really care anymore because I know that it's not. There's no matter what we talk about, we don't have votes, and we're not going to convince anyone. So it's just tough.
It's been decided, and when you start hitting certain people in the media tell you who the MVP is,
mm-hmm.
believe them when they say it. When you hear Stephen A. Smith or Colin Cowherd, or
it's the platforms. That's all it is.
Some of these big media guys tell you who the MVP is. I want people to believe them because that's how it goes. They tell you who the MVP is, and that's the end of the conversation. And that's it. And
because they have the most influence.
Yeah, even though we all watching the games, we watching the play, and we say who the MVP is, and it's just like, well, no, he the MVP. Like how? It's just like, okay. And I mean, sometimes that's the only thing I don't like about the league, the storytelling, of the league, and how you has been done sometimes. I mean, I believe certain players in history should have more than 6 MVPs because I don't think nobody's ever going to win 6 MVPs again. I think Kareem's going to hold that, but it's
yes.
I mean, it's going to be hard for someone to win 5 MVPs. They would not allow it.
I think they're trying to stop Joker from winning 4. I think they came to this limit of how many MVPs he'll win. It's like because you told LeBron he can't win 5. It's impossible.
They told LeBron that he can't win Defensive Player of the Year too. So
yeah. It's 2 awards they told him he could win. So I think decisions is being made by certain players' careers, and even the whole winning 3 MVPs in a row. I mean, the year Embiid won MVP, Joker was the MVP that year too. So, I mean. But I think we've been watching some great basketball. Houston won, I think it's 9 in a row, 8 in a row, and 9 in a row again. But I think it's certain teams who will say, "Yeah, I want to face Houston in the playoffs." So
yeah, this is one year I'll say that there's not like I don't want to say clear cut favorite, but there's like a lot of teams here that like, when you watch them and like when you look at like their schemes, like I don't think there's like a one team that you could be like, oh, that's a quick out, especially in the West. Like, I don't think anyone wants to play the Rockets. I don't think anyone, despite Curry maybe being injured for a while, I don't think anyone wants to play the Warriors because they're super hot right now. Grizzlies, I think, I don't know. They play good defense. I think they're a little overrated, but I think that I don't know. It's going to be a great playoffs regardless. I mean, I still have OKC coming out, but I think it's going to be a dogfight. I don't think we'll see any sweeps. I will say that as far as the Western Conference goes.
Not in the West. I was about to say I don't think it's none that happen in the West.
Yeah,
I want to see Orlando what they do in the playoffs because I think they're going to be a low seed, but I think their low seed is because of health issues. I think if they're healthy, they might be a top 4 team in the East. So I think some teams might not want to play Orlando and.
Yeah.
Okay, if I told you I think Orlando would beat Cleveland in the first round, do you think it's far-fetched? Because you got to remember, last year they played Orlando. They went 7, and nobody won on a road.
Orlando just beat them too, right, at home?
Yeah, they just beat
I don't think nobody trusts the Cavs in the playoffs. That's the thing. No one. They have to show us, just like Denver. They had to show us.
Yeah, so I'm ready. I think it's Cleveland have to show me that they.
Mhm.
I mean, even get past the first round. I mean, they've had a great regular season, and I salute that. But
Yeah.
I need to see them get past the first round, and I think it's a bad matchup for them with Orlando. So,
Yeah. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, I personally hope Indiana finds a way. I don't really think that's happening.
Yeah.
I think that, yeah, I mean, it's tough to say. Orlando might be a dark horse, but we really just need to see how everything shakes out. But to answer Peter Bagjuice, dude, if I said that, then I take that back because I think I was maybe being hyperbole. But no, I think Rose was a deserving MVP in 2011 because he led a way worse team to like the best record when LeBron had way more help than
LeBron had much help. He just had three good players, but the Bulls was a better team. Period.
I mean, no, they weren't a better team.
They were definitely a better team. You don't win with
they were better defensively, but I mean,
you don't win with just
any measurement you want to do. That team was better.
LeBron just outscored them, out rebounded. It was even in assists. LeBron just led him field goal percentage. That's it. I mean, just.
Well, hey, it's the same reason. It's the same reason why Jokic is going to get robbed this year, right? He was better statistically, but I mean Rose was better.
That's the three MVP in a row problem.
Yeah,
LeBron they didn't win 3 MVP in a row because he literally won 4 in 5 years. I mean, that was the one he didn't win.
Well, Rose
I mean,
had
if you swap Dwayne Wade for Luol Deng, you tell me the Bulls don't win that series? No, 100% they win.
Well, who knows?
Wade was still putting up like 28 points a game, dude. Like he didn't have that kind of. They were better defensively. Like we got Joakim Noah, but they got exposed because Rose was like a one-man show.
I mean, they got exposed because Rose couldn't score on LeBron.
Yeah, that's it. Okay. He wasn't faced up against LeBron the entire series, right?
Crazy because it would have been the only time.
We have stats. We have the last two games. LeBron guarded in both fourth quarters, and he shot 5%. And D Rose himself even stated it.
Yeah, that still has nothing to do with the.
Yeah, when they switched LeBron on me, I couldn't even move. That's
so a top 3 player of all time and like one of the better two-way players of all time shuts down D Rose. Who cares, dude? That has nothing to do with the MVP discussion.
We talking about I thought you talked about the series. Why they won? They won.
Oh no, they got exposed because the Heat matched up way better with them. Especially because of LeBron.
I mean, the games were close. It just when it needed to happen, LeBron James didn't let Derrick Rose move.
Sure, that's why LeBron's an all-time great player, way better than D Rose.
That's the reason the Bulls lost because of that switch.
Because they had better players on the Heat. Agreed.
Yeah, but I think LeBron should have won MVP that year.
I mean, he had the stats to win, but the Bulls was first. They beat the Heat all the time. I don't think LeBron had a chance.
Peter Bagjuice wants the link. You dropped the poll already, right, B? I can't see it on my.
Yeah. I'm about to head up out of here anyway, so I'm gonna keep it open anyways. But
yeah, we could drop the link for a minute there. Like when we drop the link, it's for like maybe a few quick takes.
30 seconds. Yeah.
There we go. Lucas understands the separate. Yeah, I mean it's a tough argument. We could go down the rabbit hole. I think Michael Jordan was robbed of 2 MVPs in 89 and 90. Jordan. Same thing with who else? Maybe Larry Bird.
I mean, Jordan should have at least 7.
Shaq was robbed in 2001 by Allen Iverson.
Yeah.
Giannis.
What's good, Twin Man?
We all know Kobe's the GOAT, so.
Twin Man, he's trying to
set me up.
I timed it well.
I'm going to ignore that because I know Travis is probably over there sipping on some brown or crack or whatever he's doing. because I know he doesn't
And
believe that.
Crack and meth. Yeah.
Crack and meth, shit. The trifecta. Crack, meth, and liquor.
Oh yes, right now, please.
So, what I miss?
Oh, you didn't see our
I've
debate,
been listening.
man?
I've been listening like off and on, man.
Well,
Okay, so the debate
let
here
me
was
bring Peter up first because he has something to say. You cool with that, twin man?
Oh, go ahead, do what you do.
Okay,
I can't wait to hear this.
Okay. All right, go ahead, Peter.
Man, I was chomping at the bit, man. Chomping at the goddamn. It's so much malarkey that was spewed tonight. I don't even know where to goddamn start, man.
not for
But
me.
Huh?
Not for me. I hope, Peter. Not for me.
There's a little malarkey from you too, cause that Ben Wallace pick is crazy. It's
That
crazy.
was a bad pick. I wouldn't start anything with Ben
That's
Wallace.
just crazy.
Crazy.
And B Lee, boy, you sounded worse than A Johnny with that AD
about what?
shit.
What I
That's
say
saying
about
something.
AD? What did I say about AD?
With your no. I said I use an analogy.
Oh, okay.
You're horrific. I'm talking about horrific. Chucky 2, Gremlins, nigga.
About what?
Jaws, nigga, the most
Wicker
gory,
Man?
horrific shit you could think of.
New
That
Star
guy-
Wars. Yeah.
That Shaq take.
What about Shaq? What did I say bad about Shaq?
You said Shaq wouldn't dominate in today's era, dog. Nigga, are you drunk, bruh? Is you drinking Ripple? What's going on with you, my brother?
How
You
would Shaq dominate today?
He'll
Shaq would not
dominate the
dominate
same.
today.
Listen to me. I'm gonna tell you. Ask me a question, right? So I'm gonna tell you
Yeah, how would he
exactly how
dominate
you would
today?
dominate.
Mhm.
I would surround him with. I'm just gonna think of off the top of my head, like the best 3-and-D guys and the best
Okay,
three-point
so we're
shooters
gonna
I can
surround
think
him
of.
with the best players in the league, so he could dominate.
No, I didn't say
I
best
got you.
players.
Yeah, I know.
I didn't say. Did
Yeah.
I say best players?
That
I
makes
said
sense.
I'm gonna surround him right with the best 3-and-D guys that I could think of and the
Of
best
course.
3-point shooters I could.
Of course.
Yes, because that's what. What do you mean? Of course, that's
I
what
know.
you do with your
That's
best
how you win.
players.
That's how you win. You put the best players on the floor in the league with them.
I didn't say in the league. Is Luke Kennard the best player in the league? Cause that's all I would need with a peak Shaq.
That's
Give me
all
a
you need.
Luke.
Okay.
No, I'm talking about that type of player. Like that wouldn't be my entire four next to him. But I wouldn't need no dominant ass nigga like a 2011 Wade. And that brings me to my other point because you's a disrespectful ass dude. The way disrespect is reviling. It's revolting. I'm incensed over here, man. I can't even put my words together. I'm so mad.
I could tell.
This
I don't even know what you're talking about. But come on. I'm ready.
I'm talking about your second horrific take that somehow LeBron deserved to be the MVP in 2011. Sir,
who the hell said? Like, no one said this.
I did.
What?
I believe it.
Oh, John said that. Like, I mean, he could. He had the stats. He had a team win.
Brother,
like,
no, he did not have the stats. He averaged 1 point more than D Wade, and he shot the same percentage.
No, they did not. They did not shoot the same percentage.
They were decimal points apart. Decimal points.
What did Rose shoot?
Points.
What did Derrick Rose shoot that year?
No, I didn't say D Rose. I said LeBron and D Wade.
What the hell are you talking about? D Wade didn't win no MVP.
Oh my God, brother! I'm gonna go slow.
Part of the reason why
I'm gonna go slow. Just listen. Part of the reason why LeBron should receive no consideration is because his quote-unquote second best player was.
Who the fuck cares about that? Like, we're talking about Rose versus
What do you mean?
LeBron
that
James.
factors in. If you have some,
LeBron won 2 MVPs with Wade on the team. That don't make any sense. If you win MVPs with Wade on the team, your argument makes no sense.
Because
makes no sense.
Wade fell off.
Zero sense.
He fell off. He
Makes
fell
no sense.
off. In 2012 and 2013, we're talking about 2011.
It
We
doesn't
talking
matter.
about
It
2011
doesn't matter. You
Wade.
say he could not win with Dwayne Wade on
Who
his
led
team,
the
and he
team?
won multiple
Who led?
MVPs
No,
with Dwayne
not
Wade.
not
We're
with.
talking about what he
There's
did
not
versus
enough,
the MVP. What LeBron
brother.
did versus the
There's
MVP.
not
His stats
enough
were
of a
better, but I
separation
agree
between
Rose should have won
him.
MVP. Simple as that.
There, okay, so good. You agree on that, so I'm not gonna
Yeah.
I'm not gonna fight you on that.
Yeah.
But let me just make this point for King John then, since he believes, I don't know, he believes that LeBron
just say it.
should
I need you to say the words.
should have won MVP. My point in bringing up Wade is, for me, if you're the MVP of the league, there needs to be way more separation between you and the quote unquote second best player on your team. Decimal point, one PPG and decimal points of field goal percentage, not good enough. And then that same player outscores you in the playoffs, and you leave him hanging in the final. Like,
I mean,
Wade and LeBron in
it's a regular
2011.
season award.
Listen what I'm saying. No, hold on. I'm talking about the regular season. I mentioned the regular season.
Award. The playoffs don't matter.
Listen,
I have a question.
Let's keep it strictly to the regular season.
Mm.
In
Real
2011,
quick, Peter.
in the regular season,
Okay.
King John, this is for King John specifically. Beasley, I'm not gonna fight you on this because you already conceded that he shouldn't have won it. So
Okay.
King John, there was one PPG separation between LeBron and D Wade in the regular season.
Okay.
There was decimal points in separation in terms of field goal percentage between LeBron and D. Am I being clear enough? And I'm saying that's not enough of a separation for a player to have any consideration for the MVP. And that's why he didn't even finish first or second, because Dwight Howard finished in front of him.
Okay, so the guy who won MVP, did LeBron average more points than him?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
How does that address my point, though?
So I didn't tell you
That
how
doesn't
to
address
respond. I didn't tell you how to respond, right? Okay. So now let's go to my response. So between the two, Dwayne, LeBron and Rose, who averaged more rebounds?
It wasn't between LeBron and Rose, though.
Okay,
He's
so-
not
so-
in the running.
MVP.
So we talking
He's-
about the MVP, and you want me to argue with you about a guy who didn't win MVP, right? So you want me to argue with you against somebody who didn't win MVP instead of the guy who won MVP? Is that how
I think you may have missed my point.
No,
Yeah,
I
that's
think
a losing battle.
have missed my
Peter.
point.
Yeah, Peter,
No,
that's a
it's
losing
not.
battle.
See,
That's a
you
losing
want
battle.
me to argue the way you
It's
want to
not.
argue.
I'm
You
not
can't tell-
arguing. Listen to me.
My argument is that my argument is I think LeBron should have won MVP. And
Based
you
on
want
what?
me
Based
that
on
he
the stats.
did better that year than the guy who won MVP.
That's not
Dwayne
what.
Wade.
That's not how MVPs are assessed, though, because there's a V in those three letters.
So who was the most valuable
So
player on that team?
We're assessed between
most valuable
LeBron
player
and
on that
Wade.
team?
Between LeBron and Wade, it's a wash.
No, it's not.
LeBron was he
It's
led
a
the
wash.
league in value replacement
So
player.
the best player in the
It's a
league
wash.
is the most valuable
Billy,
player.
you don't even know how that shit calculated. You
I know
probably can't.
exactly how it's
You,
calculated.
what's 11 times 11, B. Lee? You can't tell me. So get out of here with that Forbes shit, that
Yeah,
basketball
what's
shit.
11 times
You-
11?
you-
What's 11 times 11? You don't know.
Bruh, stop
One,
being
it's
so
121.
emotional.
Be quiet,
Let's
dude.
have a real
Man, you just Google that.
I know. 11 times 11.
I have a question. Real quick. I have a question. When did KD win MVP?
2014.
2014.
Okay, never mind. Never mind.
Yeah, LeBron 2011 led the league in value replacement and box plus or minus. He had the best win shares per 48, the most win shares in the league, the best offensive win shares in the league, and he led the league in PER. So he had the best value of any player in the NBA.
And Wade was third.
And
in
Wade
PER.
was not number
Wade
one.
was third in
LeBron was
PER.
the best valuable player in the league, according to the analytics.
Not enough.
According to the analytics,
And
he
let's
was
not
number
forget
one
about
in value
Bosh. And let's not forget about Bosh.
of the valuable players. LeBron was number one in the league.
This
against
argument
everybody in the
says
league.
Magic and
So
Kareem
your
should have
argument,
never won MVP with each
I'm
other.
sorry, buddy.
Hey, you do understand that
we agreed
VORP.
that we agreed that
VORP is calculated against an imaginary conceptual replacement player.
value
It's
of a
not-
player
no, it's not
is based on
assessing-
how valuable you are
No, see,
on
it's
your
not.
team. So he was the
T
most
perfect.
valuable player in the league.
Travis,
so that's
Travis, could you help him out? Could you help him out and explain VORP to him?
There's no need that.
Could
I
you
know what
explain
PER is. I know what value replacement is. LeBron
No,
was
you don't.
the best
No, you
value.
don't.
He was the most valuable player in the league according to the analytics.
Travis,
Simple
help
as
the
that.
man out. Help the man out, Travis.
Because
he
if
knows
you ask Travis, he's going to tell you you're wrong. But
VORP
help him out.
is literally compared to basically the top two players who would go into the lineup after you on a team. It's really kind of a worthless stat because it only compares really your own team, not even your
It's
team,
a
but just
team
like the
stat.
guy at that
it's a
position.
thing stat.
It's a fake stat. But
It's an
also-
imaginary.
it's
It's an
also
imaginary
cumulative.
replacement player.
It is,
It's not
yeah.
comparing.
Analytic. It's a team stat, and
It's not comparing
and
your
usually the
value
MVP
compared to your
the
teammates.
MVP of
That's
the
not what
league is
VORP
always going to
is.
be the number one
But
player in that stat.
Anyway,
Jokic
guys,
being
we're not-
number one, Jordan
we're
being
not-
number
we're not
one,
trying to be
LeBron
like-
being number one. Simple as that. The best
we're
players.
not trying to be like Sunday Show and just argue for 2 hours. We need to move this along. Twin Man, what's
So
your take?
Beely, I wanted to know what was this Shaq stat or the Shaq
Okay,
tape
all right,
that-
Wait a minute. Let me tell you. So they were telling me that I started off. They said that Shaq would dominate today. I just say he would not because he don't possess the skills that he had to dominate. So they were trying to say that he dominated Hakeem in the 1995 finals, and I say he did not dominate Hakeem in 1995 finals. And they said it did because Shaq averaged 28 and 12, even though Hakeem averaged 33 and 12 on his ass, and he swept him. So simple as that. Shaq did not dominate Hakeem in the finals. I don't know where they got this from.
So,
I
Twin
don't know.
Man, do you want the actual story?
Yeah.
So, I did hear that part. I did hear most of that part. Now, I do feel like there was a miscommunication because my take on that finals, it was a wash between those two. They went at it. The reason why the Houston Rockets won is because they had a better team and they shot lights out from three.
Exactly.
So it was a wash. It was a wash between those two.
Wait, man.
So
did Shaq dominate Shaq? I mean, did Shaq dominate Hakeem in that finals?
No, that's why I said it's a wash between.
That's all I say.
It's a wash.
He did
Hakeem
dominate.
did
I ain't say who won.
Hakeem, if you're going to go strictly by the numbers, Hakeem had better numbers, but he didn't dominate Shaq. Now, this tape that Shaq.
Hakeem outplayed
Hold
Shaq,
up.
right? He outplayed him. So Shaq
Twin Man.
cannot dominate somebody.
Hold up.
Twin
Now,
Man, real
this
quick,
tape-
could Shaq have produced, and along the numbers wise, produced in this era, say like a 30 and 15, like he was doing then at his peak? Could he do that today, in your opinion?
Yeah. Yes, but they.
Thank you.
Shaq
Hold up.
did 30 and 15.
Hold up. Hear me out. Shaq would absolutely dominate in this era, but if the offense is running through him, his team's gonna lose because they're not gonna be able to produce enough points. Because if he doesn't have solid role players that can actually give him buckets, they're gonna get blown out every night. Shaq's gonna give you 40, but
Shaq
they're gonna get
average 30 and 15 in one season in his career. He's not doing that today. 'Cause he's never
Hold on.
possessed
I'm talking
the
about in
skills
today's era. He
He's
would be
never
able
did
to
that before.
dominate. Hold on, B-Lee. Hear me out. In today's era, he would absolutely be able to dominate down low. Do I agree with you? That's not winning basketball. I absolutely agree with you with that. Shaq's gonna get his number.
Basketball.
Shaq, that's not winning basketball. Not in today's era. If you can't hit threes, you can't win. Let's be real here. You can't hit threes, you can't win. And Shaq in this era is a defensive liability because he can't play on the perimeter. So is he going to get his numbers? Absolutely. But that's all he's going to be able to. He's going to be able to get his numbers and give you rebounds. That's it. And that's not enough in today's league. You
Shaq
have
is
to be
giving
able.
me
Shaq's going to be able to give you 30 points a game in this league.
not giving 30
But
points.
that's,
Bless you,
Shaq is
Twin Man.
30.
You're a national treasure. That's exactly what we said.
Shaq
Verbatim.
has never did that
listen.
before, and he won't do it today.
no center in today's league guarding prime Shaq. And you know it. There's no center in today. There was no center back then that could guard Shaq. And that was an era full of centers.
Weak centers.
So there's no center in today's league that's messing with Shaq. But Shaq doesn't win. They don't win the championship if the offense is running through Shaq. I think Travis and John agree with me when I say this. Shaq's a liability because he can't play on the perimeter. Wouldn't be able to switch.
They think Shaq will be able to. The younger Shaq will be able to move side to side.
We didn't say that. We said that.
But I know that's what my pay. Shaq wouldn't be able to guard anybody because he can't move side to side. He's not chasing anybody off the threes, and he's not sitting there in the post doing post moves because they will not allow it today. They will not allow that today. Shaq cannot hold the ball to form a jump shot, so he would not be able to shoot.
What would he need a jump shot for?
Because
what?
He's an NBA player. He's not. If he's not shooting jump shots, he's not scoring. No one's just going to let Shaq sit in the post and do post
everybody
moves.
all game.
Simple as that. That's not happening.
Hold on. Shaq is going to kill. Shaq's going to kill in the post. B. Lee, this is the only take that I disagree.
I'm just saying they are not going to allow Shaq to sit in the post. That's not going to happen.
He has a player that can get him in the ball. If he has a player that can get him the ball in the post, he's going to have to double.
Bro,
this is why. Hold on, real quick.
Like saying,
Peter, real quick. Hold up.
My bad.
Hold on. So if Shaq now, are there going to be some skills Shaq's going to have to develop? Absolutely. But if they play Shaq, anytime Shaq gets a one-on-one, that's a bucket. Are they going to have to double team and triple team Shaq? Absolutely. Now we even saw back in the day, they would double team and triple team him, and it was still a dunk. I think today's players are a lot taller. They're a lot more athletic. Shaq would have trouble, but anytime he gets the one-on-one, it's a bucket. Shaq's going to shoot a ton of free throws, but I still don't think it's winning basketball because they don't generate enough points to beat NBA teams today doing it that way. So does Shaq dominate and get his numbers? Absolutely. Is his team top 5 in the East or West? No.
Damn,
I don't see it.
They could be a top. They could be a good. It depends.
That's
on what team
crazy.
He's on. Of course, he could be a top. He can win a championship if he played on the right team. He's just not scoring 30 and 15.
I'm talking about if Shaq is the. Hold on, I want to make it clear what I'm saying. If Shaq is the primary offense, kind of like he was in Orlando and how they ran the offense through him in LA, they're not top 5 in any of the conferences because they're not generating enough points.
So Twin, even with a couple 3-and-D guys, a guy who can handle the ball and shoot the three, possibly. Let's say like a. Hold on. Let me build a scenario here. Let's say.
Hey, let's get Sturdy taking here because Sturdy's back here. Go ahead, Sturdy. What you got?
Sturdy on the crane. Hey, Sturdy.
Sturdy's dead.
Yeah.
Sturdy can't believe the craziness y'all saying.
Dude, I couldn't believe the craziness. Beasley is just
drunk
right now.
Travis just drunk, he said. That's all it is.
I am drinking down right now. Just saying.
All right. Yeah, I guess
Twin Man had an excellent take.
Take
Everyone's sensible here, Beasley. We know Shaq would be a monster.
Dude, Shaq with 4 3-point shooters around him.
Yeah, it would be like
In
Jokic,
today's
only someone else
league?
is distributing.
In today's league, Shaq is a little different. And I think he
Shaq
still
with Devin
gives you the
Adams on 30 and
numbers.
15. All right, Sturdy, you here now?
Yes.
All right.
Salute, brothers. I'm trying to make this quick. I'm on just the 2 things. The Shaq thing, 1000%, he'll dominate today's game. For the simple fact that in any era, elite rebounding translates, dominant post scoring supplemented with decent passing translates in any era. It's just that simple. Today's offenses, today's game, they're more sophisticated. They're literally designed to either get you a high quality shot at the rim or get you an open 3. Shaq, the way he scores, literally is designed for that. Every time he gets a post possession, that's the quality shot at the rim. And to counter that, he's going to draw doubles, or even do people run a zone defense. He's going to clap the zone, and there's going to be multiple shooters open. There's actually more shooters open in today's game than opposed to be a slower paced game of his time. Lastly, too, Billy, I was trying to check this out before I glitched out, but Shaq's highest points per game season is 2,000. which was I believe he had 29.7. Yes, that's not 30, but we can't forget the amount of possessions of that time. So if we're talking about one of the most efficient scorers in NBA history in the modern era, and you kind of surmise the fact that you put him in an era where there's more sophisticated offense, there's more role players who can shoot those space for him to get those one-on-one opportunities in an era that has more possessions a game, one could assume Shaq possibly could get 30 points per game. Possibly, you know what I'm saying? And that just being his own skill set that we've seen. That's not even doing the hypothetical thing if he developing skills, just the own skill set of being a dominant post scorer, one of the greatest offensive rebounders we've seen since the 2000s. On top of that, he's just going to be dominant. And lastly too, he's nimble. He's the thing will make Shaq is a unicorn. People forget, like, Shaq came in the league at 300 pounds, but people have this misconception that he became that big when he came to Lakers, which he did. But throughout the majority of his prime, he was nimble. He was strong and nimble. That what made him so dangerous. So I just simply believe, yes, you put him in today's era where there's more shooters. Yeah, 1,000% he'll be more dominant.
They tried to do that with LeBron. They thought just putting people at the 3-point line so they could shoot bricks. Of course, if you put Shaq with like great 3-point shooters, any team will win. So anyway, Shaq won't average no 30 and 15 today. He would not be the same player. What's
he going to average, Billy? Tell us.
I mean, like maybe 20 and 10, maybe.
20 and 10.
But Billy, the thing is, Billy, hold on. But Billy, if we're being honest, Billy, the average, like any team that's considered a quality team has at least 3 shooters on the floor.
Yeah.
And
we didn't say in the first half.
No. That's what I'm saying.
We have to make sure he has a great team so he could be. Be good.
No. I'm saying Billy, in today's, I didn't say great team. I said any quality team has at least 3 shooters on the floor at every time. That's just today's game. Like people, literally the philosophy of today's game is try to get an easy shot at the rim or get an open 3. That's why the demand for most role players is to be able to shoot the 3. I'm saying the majority teams have enough shooters to surround Shaq with, Billy. And every single team have way more sophisticated offense than what we saw Shaq dominant in the triangle.
Yeah,
I don't see why not.
Unless Phil Jackson is coming back to coach Shaq, he ain't averaging no 30.
So, Billy, you're saying Shaq would magically be on the only team in the league that wouldn't have shooters on it?
I mean, there's a lot of teams that don't shoot the three ball good. So the only way Shaq would be effective if he had great 3-point shooters.
He's not wrong about that. Now we can't do that with Billy saying
because we see LeBron James play with a whole bunch of bums that couldn't make a shot.
Listen, can I say something?
I'm not talking about no. That's the thing. That's the thing. I'm not talking about winning. Like winning is a team thing. I'm talking about being dominant.
Yeah.
Being dominant is being a highly impactful player towards the game of basketball. That would be a dominant is. So Shaq would definitely do that in today's game.
Shaq would be easy to defend.
Hey, can I say something?
Coach to go.
I want to say something real quick because
Travis.
Anytime people are in their era, in the moment, they have a term for it. They call it recency bias, right? And we have
that's Brandon's middle name.
And we still kind of have it. I recognize my own bias, right? Because I'm in love with all things 90s, right?
Sexually?
No,
oh God,
I don't have no bias.
Shit,
like,
probably.
What bias do I have? I just never seen Shaq possess these skills. How's that a bias?
No, hold on. Let me finish, Billy. No, well, every human being has biases, Billy. Come on now. That's just natural, right?
No, I don't have any bias. I'm good.
Well,
you're said that they were shitty sinners in the 90s because it was the 90s. That's bias.
Well, I never said they were shitty sinners. I said who was he going up against that he was dominating?
Billy, us mere mortals have biases, okay? So this is what I wanted to say. When you develop these archetypes, right? Because the game, how it's played today, we have it kind of frozen in our mind that you can't possibly be dominant or successful outside of the kind of the archetype of today's game, right? And I want to bring up one player in today's game who is not the archetypal dominant scorer of quote unquote today's era, and he's leading the league in scoring currently.
I saw it.
Okay, and you know how he's doing it, Travis?
Mid-range, baby.
He's shooting 57% from 10 to 15 feet on 5 attempts per game.
Yeah, and only 10 free throws at the end too. It's nice.
9 free throws a game. He's a decent 3-point shooter this year. He's shooting 37%. That's not burning the barn down, right? But the point that I'm making is, if I were to say to you a guy would lead the league into, because it's the same argument they make with Jordan. Well, he can't shoot the three, and there's no way he could lead the league, and blah, blah, blah. Shea destroyed that stupid argument, and I would draw the same corollary between Shaq and this era.
Great take. Great take.
I wouldn't. I get what you're trying to say. I don't think that's a good analogy.
That Shea is not a skill. I'm confused.
See, you're being disingenuous.
What did you hear?
You're being
Billy,
disingenuous.
Brennan, how did you hear?
Travis,
how did you hear?
Knows, he's no dummy. He knows he's
Brennan,
being
you
obtuse.
said- you heard-
Being obtuse.
You heard Peter explaining how he was a great scorer, and from that you took away that he said he wasn't skilled. What are you listening
like
to?
you say he isn't the what? You say he's not the typical.
He's not.
He said he's not
he's not going to shoot
barn
10
down.
threes a game. That's what he means.
Okay, you don't have to shoot 10 threes a game, but what? But I'm confused.
He means that he's one of the few players who can get his own shot all the time, specifically from mid range, and he's adept at it, and he's elite.
Okay.
There's not too many players who can do that at his level.
He's beyond elite. My point is that
he's the best.
Certain players, right, are one of ones. They're outliers, right? And SGA is an outlier, because there's no way, if I would, before SGA would lead the league in scoring this year, if I would have told you that a guy could lead the league in scoring, shooting mid-range shots, you tell me to get the hell off the panel.
Who
Let's
say
keep it
that?
real.
There's players. I mean, Embiid led the league in scoring. He doesn't jack up a whole bunch of threes all the time. Like, it's possible. It's fine.
Yeah, he played like Shaq.
Yeah, it's
Well,
possible.
he's a big. If I'd have said a guard,
Yeah.
if I'd have said Jordan, forget about that. Because SGA.
No.
Listen,
Okay,
SGA
go
is
ahead,
a really SGA compared to Jordan is a really, really nice chain restaurant. I'm talking about real nice.
I'm
nice.
confused. I'm so confused.
I am
I'm
too.
so confused.
No,
Like,
like,
who the hell think Jordan couldn't lead the league in scoring? Like, who thinks this?
No, I'm
We
just,
say
I
Jordan
Y'all
would
don't-
not
y'all
average
don't be-
40 to
y'all don't
50
be saying
points a
that?
game. They
Y'all
say
don't
Jordan
be-
would average 60 points a
No,
game.
no,
You say that's
no,
just not
come
happening.
on now,
We
come
say he
on now,
averaged
that's
over
ridiculous.
40. That's not happening.
Hold on.
Yes, he can
Let
shoot
me-
the ball 30 times a game. That's fine. He can average 30.
I think
He
I
wouldn't
think
need.
I think
See, you see how he being slick? You didn't shoot the
It's
ball
possible.
30
no,
times.
no, Peter, he using your analogy to help deflect, and I think just to get back home, Peter's just trying to say there's just certain players where they're so unique in the way they dominate the game. It don't have to look like the status quo of that league to be dominant or to be effective.
Yep.
And Shaq being 7'1", 300 plus pound, being that nimble and athletic, he's gonna on a night tonight on a no. I'm not saying so. I'm saying for Shaq on a night in night out basis is going to have a physical advantage.
Who gonna stop him? Wemby? Gobert?
Wemby would retire
It doesn't
against
matter.
Brown Shaq.
Like, team defense, right? Isn't that team defense supposed to stop him? That's what I've been
Wemby
hearing
would
for the
be
last
4 different
last
folds
3 months.
after Shaq.
Team defense.
Wemby
Team
would play
defense.
power
That's
forward.
what stops Shaq. You
Wemby
gotta
would
play
play
team
power
defense.
Hold on, real quick. So yeah, this is what I'm saying. I understand Shaq's gonna get his numbers, but today's center, Shaq's barbecue chicken. He's gonna. So I'm gonna take a play, and you're gonna sit here and say, "Twin man, you're out your mind." I need you to hear me out. Karl Anthony Towns. Shaq's not gonna be able to do anything with Karl Anthony Towns. He's not. And if you're using your basketball mind, you'll understand exactly why I'm saying that. He's gonna take Shaq out into no man's land, and he's gonna be able to take him off the dribble. Shaq he didn't have to deal with that back in the 90s. He didn't have to deal with that in the 2000s. So Shaq's he's gonna barbecue chicken. I'm sorry. Shaq,
What are you talking about?
all
Dikembe
time
Mutombo was like
he did. No,
You guys
actually,
are saying
actually,
Anthony Davis can't play today, but somehow Shaq can being in the post.
No. We're not.
Man,
No,
that's Johnny.
I'm saying no.
crazy
That's not what we're
self,
saying.
man.
That's not what we're saying. That's not what we're
Apparently,
saying.
everyone's
Terrible
on
take
Johnny's
with Johnny right
crap
there.
about this.
No. I actually think Twin Men should double down on that point because you have to say was like literally there was series where Shaq was having a hard time getting closing out to guys shooting extended twos and corner threes. That's a fact. But
live with that,
unlike
What is Shaq going to do? Hold on, real quick, 30. What is Shaq going to do with Wemby? What is he going to do with Wemby?
No, but
Wemby's going to murder
But that's
Shaq.
what Twin Men. That's what I'm saying. This is not the thing. Is about great players, especially guys that draw a lot of fouls like Shaq, because A, he's a bad free throw shooter, and also 2, he's a physical player. It's literally a race, Twin Man. It's literally a race. That's why I'm counting to that point. See, especially guys like Cat, as you know, as a Knicks fan watching him, he's not that hard to draw fouls on. So yeah, there's gonna be a few possessions going to get a lot of open things, 1,000%. But then how long you gonna stay in the game guarding a guy like Shaq? And same thing for Wemby. And that's
I was gonna say exactly what you said.
And this is why we're gonna really piss me and Twin Men off, because there's an aspect of Kobe Bryant that should actually get more attention to. Because when he retired, he was actually asking the same exact question. He said 1,000% Shaq will dominate today's game because we all know with great scorers, you go at their pace. So the game has to slow down. And that's why I said with more sophisticated offenses, to Beasley's point, it's not like back in 2000 where they're going to wait for Shaq, park his big ass on the block, and then catch the ball. No. Team's gonna run a couple more actions because there's been zone defense more accustomed to today's game. Any competent coach is going to make sure Shaq is going to get easy touches either in the middle or on clear side at the low block. And like I said before, even in today's game, the elite post scorers that can pass still dominate the post.
Facts.
That skill translate in any era. So to your point, man, 1,000%. Shaq is a bad free throw shooter. Even for his era, he wasn't mobile enough to close out on some of the stretch out bigs for that time. But once again, just like every great player, is a catch to everything.
You guys realize that Wemby would fake an injury not to play against Shaq, right?
No, he would become the greatest power forward.
Shaq wouldn't even have to fake an injury because he would get injured going back and forth, checking people off the three-point line.
Terrible take by Johnny right here. He says Howard is athletic but can't play today. So with the same Dwight Howard who helped you win a championship in 2020?
Well, Johnny thinks Anthony Davis can't play today. So
that's right. The same guy. You're right. Terrible job out of a Johnny.
The thing is with basketball, it's just as simple. Like just certain skills. Even if you don't have a developable, there's certain skills that just translate in any era. It's literally that simple.
Yeah.
Like the concept of basketball hasn't really changed. It's just got spaced out. It's the same concept, same philosophy.
Well, have my back on this 30. So what I'd say is like, and this is
what differentiates Shaq from like 98% of all other centers,
is that he wasn't just a guy who was going to score efficiently on a block. He was going to get you in foul trouble early and often. Because you had to, otherwise
you're giving up 90% of his points.
His points at like 85% clip. Like you couldn't not do it. And if you tried to double him, no other player in like league history has,
correct me if I'm wrong, but like demanded more or quicker double and triple team than Shaq. Like it would be your team's 3-point shooting looks and percentage would go up by virtue of like what you had to do defensively. According
to thinking basketball terms, I'm sorry to cut you off, but this is something your point. According to thinking basketball, every time Shaq was on the floor during this peak, teams 3-point shooting like went up like anywhere from 4 to 6%.
Yeah,
he made Brian Shaw look like Ray Allen, dude.
He did.
Like
he did.
Yeah, with his 3 shots a game.
Now you want context? Okay.
Beasley,